Good morning, everyone. This is a regular meeting of the members of the State Liquor Authority. Today is May 2nd, 2018. Excuse me. Present today are Chairman Bradley, Commissioner Ford, Deputy Commissioner of Licensing held, myself, Secretary Donahue, sitting in for Counsel's office until Counsel Riano arrives is Attorney Thomas Rizzuto from Counsel's office. The next meetings of the authority will be May 16th, May 30th, and June 13th. Those are all Wednesdays. I ask if you have a cell phone, please silence it and take your calls outside. We're going to call items first in Buffalo. I don't see anything in Albany right now, and then in New York. Just for those in New York who signed in, we're going to take things slightly out of order from when you signed in, so don't be too surprised when that happens. All right, as the item is called, please approach the podium and speak into the microphone so that everybody here can hear you and that it gets recorded. Chairman, do you have anything else before we get going?
No.
All right. The first item in Buffalo is 868, which is Gurus Convenience Corp.
Chairman, full board members, I just want to let you know that there's opposition present for this application.
Okay, let them put their name on the record first, and then we'll hear from the opposition.
Robert Heil, consultant. MMD.
And your client?
MMD, Singh, the applicant.
Okay, can we hear from the opposition then?
Good morning, Jill Yonkers from Rupp Vaz on behalf of John Mark and Passport Wine and Spirits.
Go ahead.
Good morning. I represent the two closest neighbors to this application, which is the proposed eighth in an area of less than 2.6 miles. We have some timely information from processes that occurred just in 2016, specifically the Addie's application, which was a mere relocation to this area. And what we have now is timely information about what that application did to the area. I know Addie's has submitted an opposition itself. We now have more than 65,000 square feet of liquor store space in a 2.6 mile area. The impact of that has been calculable. This is not supposition. Both John Mark and Passport have submitted their gross sales information to you, which since 2016 has decreased. For John Mark, over 200,000 in gross sales. For Passport, more than 92,000. This is not a unique phenomenon limited to places of a certain size. John Mark is a large store and Passport is a medium-sized store.
But John Mark's decrease is less than 1%.
But you have to also look at the number of in-person sales that has decreased in that mere time period. Over 300,000 in in-person sales, which is palpable. We're not talking about, you might say, oh, John Mark can use the internet, but we're losing people in the store due to a relocation. This is a brand new license that you're looking at here today in an area where the population is stagnant. When you look at the population...
But you understand that what we look at sales numbers to gauge the demand. One thing that I'm not concerned with is affecting open competition.
Sure.
So if their sales go down, there could be several reasons for that. I'm not going to argue that I'm sure adding a licensee certainly affected it, but there could be other reasons for it as well.
So then let's take a look at what's happening with the population. The population is static. It may have had a slight increase, but Clarence and Amherst, you also have to take into account, and this is information from the U.S. Census Bureau, their population of people under the drinking age. Now, they don't measure it to the age of 21, so these are people under the age of 18. 20% of their population for Amherst and 26% of the population in Clarence are under the drinking age. And this is, again, we've got 65,000 square feet of sales.
I'm not following your population numbers. So you're telling me that there's a significantly more higher percentage of underage people in this area than there is anywhere else?
No, but when you look at the numbers themselves, there have been slight increases, but within those increases are people under about a quarter of the people are under the drinking age. So it's not a one-to-one comparison. You can't say these slight increases allow another store to come in. This application is very similar to SNR Fayetteville Inc., doing business as Fayetteville Liquors, that 2 weeks ago this board looked at and said, you've got 4 stores in a static population area. Fayetteville is very similar to Amherst, Clarence, Williamsville area, and
That
you
store
denied
had
that.
that application had a store literally like within walking distance of about a
I think you
minute.
said 90 seconds, you could
90
get to another
seconds.
store. Right, now here, but again, what were the other keys? There were 4 stores, one within 90 seconds. Here we have 7 stores within minutes. The closest store is John Mark at about 1.4 miles away. Passport is the second closest store at 1.7 miles away. There's been no population explosion, just like you found in Fayetteville, and there were flat and decreased sales. There's an even greater impact here.
Okay.
This application, in short, would not serve the public convenience and advantage. It would be the 8th store within 2.6 miles. We've got 65,000 square feet of liquor store space in the area. And we have a real concern. Look at your disciplinary agenda today. You've got 81 pages worth to get to, so I won't belabor the point. But we don't want the pressures of business to affect this area negatively and have another business not serve the public advantage and convenience. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead. Applicant, is there anybody else there in opposition?
No.
Okay, the applicant can go.
Good afternoon. We're here to answer any questions you might have about this application. We understand the concerns that we just heard. But we also believe that we do serve the public's interest, and as much as our floor space is going to consist of 25 to 30% of New
You're
York
right,
State
I'm
product.
not hearing you. Say that again. You serve the public interest. Why?
Our product mix, we're going to include 25 to 30% of New York State product, which nobody else in the area seems to be doing. We're looking at our.
You're
numbers-
telling me in 65,000 square feet of liquor stores within 2.5 miles, nobody's carrying New York products?
Not nearly to the percentage of floor space that we intend to do.
Okay, what else? Why, so other than the New York products, why do they need another 4,700 square feet of liquor store?
But it's just shy of that because some of it is storage. But anyways, we just see a location that seems to fit the need. We have somebody who's looking for an opportunity to open his business and to create, yes, competition, but to serve an area that, sort of plugs a hole between what we see 1.5 miles in one direction and 1.7 in another.
But everybody drives out there,
They do.
and you're on one of the major thoroughfares of the city.
That's why we chose that location.
What,
Because it is.
what got him interested in getting a liquor store?
He had worked as a manager for 4 years in a liquor store here in Buffalo, and then stepped away, went into the trucking business, and has continued to have an interest and saw an opportunity when his father offered him funding so that he could make application and have his own store.
And I see the store he worked at was Singh Prem LLC. Is he related to those things?
He is not.
Are you going in the, that TJ Maxx Plaza? Is that where it is? Is that what's in that plaza there?
Yes, it is.
Are you going in the same building as TJ Maxx? Where they're located?
No, it was a furniture store that was there.
All right. Pretty big parking lot. All right.
All right, do you have any questions?
No, I'm good. You ready to vote?
Anything else you want to add?
Not at this time.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't see any real problem with you as an applicant, but I'm still going to vote to deny based on the fact that there's another license we just issued in October of 2016, another one that was sent out, that was issued just actually, it's about 6, 7 months ago. And I'm looking at all the sales. Everybody's kind of holding their own, hovering around the same stat. So I'm not sure I see that there's a need for another liquor store on Transit Boulevard today. So I vote to deny.
I'm going to vote to deny as well. There's an enormous amount of square footage within 2 miles of this location. And the sales, based on we moved the store to this area in 2016, and in 2017, we opened another one, and it's obvious that they are having an effect on the overall demand of alcohol. I just don't see another advantage to adding another one. There's no public convenience and advantage, so I'm going to vote to deny.
Understood.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle, I don't have any other items in Buffalo?
There's no other items in Buffalo.
Okay, thank you. And there's no items in Albany?
That's correct, sir.
All right, so we'll move to New York City. First item here is going to be 825. Taking this out of order. Yorktown Discount Liquors, Inc.
Martin Miller, Miller Buscemi. I thank the Secretary's office. I have a matter downstairs.
Oh,
police.
okay. I don't get involved in that, as you know. I just, I let him call the cases.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
they're police beckoning my call. In any event, this is an application. This is my partner's application, but he is away, so I'm standing in his stead. It's an application for a package store.
Let me just start. Is there any opposition here for this?
Oh,
Come on up. Which one is he? Go ahead. Come on. In the microphone. You have to speak to us.
Good morning.
Yeah.
How are you? I'm Stephanie from Ginny's Wine and Liquor.
I'm Ruth Rukmani from Parkside Wine and Liquor.
April from Shopping Center Wine and Liquor.
Chen from Mohican Wines and Liquor.
Okay.
We're here today because this store was actually run by another gentleman who was in the business for probably about 40 years. The business was opened up. He has been out of business now. He only stayed in business for probably 2 years. This store is within a mile from my store,
And my store too.
less than a mile from her, less than a mile from her, and less than a mile from you, yeah.
But he was there when you all
No,
were open.
and he went out of business.
Okay.
Yeah. And he moved his store from Croton to there, and
He didn't do
it didn't work out. That's the point. And we don't need, it's not an area where there are a lot of people. The population has not increased, our sales have not increased, we're just.
Well,
like
that's
holding
actually
on.
not, I mean, most of your sales have increased during the time he was open.
Well, yes, little bit, but not like extravagant amount.
Well, somebody went up $500,000, that's pretty good.
Really?
Over, from 2013 to 2016, Kimbry Liquor Corp. Shopping Center.
My sales have been down since then, actually, from this year to compared to last year.
Which store are you?
Shopping Center Wine and Liquor or Kimbry Liquor.
Okay.
Okay, so basically your objection is that somebody was here already and they didn't do well and shut.
Yeah,
Okay.
rather quickly.
Yeah.
Rather quickly. I mean, there are so many
Yeah.
liquor stores within the area,
It's a lot.
there's a lot. I mean, there's Lakeland, which is, what is he?
Yeah,
Not
he's-
even a mile either, too. That's another
There are
liquor
so
store
many
that's in
out.
the area. There's one in Baldwin, which.
Do you know when this guy closed? Because I see his license expired in February of 2016. Was he open right up till his license expired?
I
I
think so,
think they
right? Was
closed
it-
it at least 2 years already.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be about 2 years, yeah.
yeah.
It closed at least 2 years.
Okay. Anything else?
No, thank you very much
Thank you,
for
thank you.
listening
All right,
to
thank
us.
you.
Thank you, ladies.
It's interesting to note that the lady that spoke was Kimberly. I mean,
Yeah,
she's doing $5.6 million a year. But here's the real story. First of all, there have been increases in population. Second of all, as you've already noted, there have been increases in
Did you
sales.
put those in those, we have population numbers?
Yes, my partner put in a...
Oh, I got it, okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's okay. And with respect to the store that was there before, that there was a store there before, basically, they've just come up here and told you they don't want competition, is what they've told you. And as the chairman pointed out in the other application, that's not what the liquor authority is here to look at. The store that was there before did go out. That store apparently had something like 6,500 square feet. This store is only going to have 2,500 square feet. As to why he went out, I don't know. Speculation on their part is not an answer to what's going on. This gentleman is coming into the area. His mother, he needs to assist his mother, who's in New York. He's going to sell his businesses in Florida. He's going to hopefully introduce products into this area that currently are not available in the other stores. The other stores that are arguing are, with the exception of one other, are not even in the same town, Mohegan Lake. And for all the reasons that you approved-
One is?
I said no, with the exception of one.
Okay.
And that one is interesting in that it was a store for a long time and it was just purchased by someone else. However, between September and December and the end of the year, they did $700,000 worth of sales. So it's not as if these stores are doing badly. All of them are doing very well, as a matter of fact, and are increasing in total volume. With an increase in the total population, and this store, it's in a shopping center. It fits a need that currently is not there. You did license this store before, and I would ask that you allow this gentleman to go into business.
So what does he do now? Because I see he's got nothing down as his employment, but it looks like he owns 2 convenience stores?
Yes, he owns 2. He
Here
owns
in New
them.
York?
No, they're in Florida. He's selling them. He's coming up to New York. He has to take care of his mother here in New York.
So why the liquor store business rather than the convenience store business?
In Florida, you can sell alcohol.
Oh, so he's already in the liquor store business, right. Don't say that too loud.
No, I was
here.
going to say, yeah, we'll keep that in Florida and not here, because I represent a group that shudders every time that's mentioned. But that's...
Believe me, I know.
I know, me too.
So what's he doing different that they're not doing?
He's going to have, he intends to introduce organic and New York wines that are currently not in the other stores. He's looked at the other stores, and he is going to have these wines. If you want him to tell you what they are, he's got a list of them. Yeah. Put your name down.
My name is Shibu Joseph.
Speak up.
You have to speak.
Shibu Joseph, that's my name. Yeah, I'm planning to sell New York wines and organic wines.
Are you selling those now in Florida?
Yeah,
In your stores in Florida?
yeah.
What percentage is going to be New York?
20
20 to 30%.
20 to 30%.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
No, I'm looking at this Mohegan Wines and Liquors issued 8/31/17.
That was open though prior to that.
Yeah, but that was previously licensed since
Yeah, he was-
2015.
He removed there from Croton
Okay.
on Hudson.
You have, it says you're going to do approximately, what, 2,050 square feet of retail.
Right. The total store is about 2,500, of which 400 is going to be storage and 2,000 is going to be...
And what'd you say the old one was?
6,500. That may be one of the reasons it went out. I don't know. I mean, but they met with the landlord. The rent is reasonable to them. They can make this rent. And they're only asking for 20, which is another thing, in that they're not the biggest store in the area, nor they intend to be the biggest store.
Is this a standalone store? Are you in a plaza?
It's in a plaza.
It's in a plaza, yeah. What else is in the plaza?
There's a couple of restaurants, a yogurt store, a bank, another restaurant, a lighting store, an auto parts store, a mobile phone store, and a pharmacy. This is what was there when it went there.
Can I have just a moment with council, please? I'm looking at all the other stores. They look to be, well, actually, quite a few of them actually increasing in sales. This is a license that was previously, a location that was previously licensed. So I'm going to vote to approve.
I'm going to vote to approve as well. The location was previously licensed until February of 2016. All of the closest stores were in business then, and their sales went up while that store was open, and they continue to go up. The population is increasing, and this store's going to be a third of the size of the store it's replacing. So I think there is a public convenience and advantage. I'm going to vote to approve.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll meet you outside.
All right, the next item is 820. You pulled it up, I'm just calling it earlier.
This is my partner's case again. It's a conditional no contest, and I stand on it.
I'm going to counter at 12,000 just because they've been open a year when this stuff was happening, and I know you can't take it, but...
No, I mean, I can, so please, I'll speak to my client.
Okay. I don't know what he's doing, but that's...
What was your, where were you?
70,
Chairman?
oh, the chairman.
I was at 12, just because they're open a year, and this is a bad sign. Do we have anything open on this? Any other? That's it?
Interesting that no one wants to cooperate. None of the victims want to cooperate, so I'm going to go with the chairman on this one, too. They've only been open a short amount of time.
No,
They should not be here already.
All I can do is speak to the
Right.
partner, he'll speak to the client.
We'll send the letter.
Thank you very much.
See you.
The next item is 828, V&C Supermarket, Inc. Deputy Mayor, this is one of those matters. Deputy Mayor Renfro is here from the village.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Can you put your name on the record?
My name is Barbie Chong.
And who's with you?
My client Stephanie.
Stephanie Nugent.
Mayor, Deputy Mayor? You want to come up?
I didn't really have any concerns except that
Well, can you just say that on the record, just so we have it?
Deputy Mayor Charles Renfro, Village of Hempstead. I was asked a question about sake that they wanted to sell in the supermarket. I wasn't sure whether that was
They can't.
Okay.
Correct, Tom?
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's liquor store only.
Liquor store only, okay?
Beer, this is beer and wine product. That's it.
Thanks.
But otherwise, you guys are good with this?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm good with it,
Yeah.
too. I'll vote to approve.
We'll save you a long speech.
All right, thank you.
Hempstead's okay with it, so
Thank you
are
so
we.
much.
Approved.
We have another matter from Hempstead. I don't think the applicant is here, but it's 844. It's JA Express Food Court. And
All right,
and the deputy mayor, this is the other matter, Mr. Renfro. No one's appeared.
but I want to hear, you can leave, I'll just listen to what you have to say.
If you have anything to say.
You're good with this? 844. What?
Christopher Road.
Right, but they came and changed their tune. Yeah, that was what he was doing. All right, so we can do this now.
Okay.
You want to vote on it?
Yeah, I'll vote to approve. There's no municipal objection. That was the issue before.
I'll vote to approve as well, grant the reconsideration, and does this go back to licensing, Jackie, or?
No, this is a full board. You'd be,
All right, so I'll vote to approve the license as well. The only issue I had was, there was municipal objection, and they just indicated there is not anymore.
All right, then the next item is 830. Jack's Reef Cafe LLC.
Good morning, everyone. Robert Romano. I'm here with Jay Meyer of Jack's Reefs Cafe LLC.
Now, before I insult anybody, I'm assuming you weren't the attorney before?
No, I was not.
You did not give that advice from before, correct?
Correct.
Just making that clear.
Self-deprecation is, I do it often, but not before the board. I try not to. So he had been given, it was due to a series of unfortunate events that occurred based on misconceptions and his introduction to the field of restaurants and alcohol beverage service that Mr. Meyer, that this occurred. And Mr. Meyer is now spending, he was spending 8 to 10 hours a week at this location, as well as a new one that he's applying for, intends to apply for, assuming this matter gets resolved amicably. And there are 35 employees waiting to hear the outcome of this at his next location, which is a 150-seat restaurant.
Oh, so he's opening another place, too?
He intends to open another place as well. It's a few weeks from completion, actually.
All right, I'll vote to reconsider and send this back to licensing. And he has an open case, right? That I assume is going to be dealt with?
Just this.
This case,
This
yeah,
case.
yeah.
And then I assume once the license were to be issued, at that point, the board would take steps.
Well, you haven't, there's no charges filed yet because we just
There
took the
can't be
license.
because he's not
Right,
licensed.
okay. So I'll send this back to licensing to license it.
all right.
And then you're going to file charges for the serving
Based on
without a license.
determination, if we
Right.
choose to
Right.
approve, we'll let council's office know.
And is there any consideration that could be made on that new application so he doesn't have to wait till that matter is resolved in order to get?
Is it already filed?
That's a good question. We're trying to find out.
Oh, I can't consider anything that's not here, so we won't 589 it because.
So that's what I'm
Well,
asking.
then let me know what it is, okay?
Okay, wait,
Send me an email.
I'll send you an email.
Commissioner Ford?
Yes, I'm fine with that, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
Okay.
Next item, 827, Manta Seafood Restaurant and Bar, Inc.
Good morning, Stacy Weiss for the applicant, Manta Seafood. This is the applicant,
Are you in opposition? Yes, sir. So why don't we let him hear from him?
Good morning, Ralph Acevedo. I'm the district manager for Bronx Community Board 2. Bronx Community Board 2 had its franchise liquor and permit committee meeting on Tuesday, January 9th, 2018, and had Mr. Raul Mira of Manta Seafood Restaurant and Bar present a new liquor license for his establishment located at 1288 Westchester Avenue. At the time, the committee instructed Mr. Mira to install external cameras and to provide the name of a security company he will utilize before the full board meeting. The full board meeting was on January 24th. A roll call vote was conducted of 15 no votes, 12 yes votes, and 3 abstentions. The board at the time respectfully objects to Mr. Mira receiving a liquor license. The board members stated that on this one particular block, we already have 2 bar and restaurants, 1 liquor store, and 1 grocery store, all have active licenses. The residents of the surrounding neighborhood have suffered enormous hardship from drunkenness and violence that occurs from these establishments. These issues affect the community as a whole rather than Mr. Mira's interests. It will generate loitering conditions and overburden our local police precinct. Although the community board has only an advisory role in determining Mr. Mira's application, we appreciate the State Liquor Authority's support with the community's interests in mind.
So you haven't issued any stipulations? If we were to approve it, they would have to have stipulations?
There were stipulations at the committee level.
Yeah.
But there was no vote at the committee level. What they requested at the time was the external cameras be installed. And
Where are they?
At this time, I think the external cameras were installed, but there was no contract with a security company.
And you realize this isn't a 500-foot case.
We understand that, but this one particular block has 2 restaurants with bars already, and is already a burden on our local police precinct. We have a liquor store.
Do you have anything from the precinct indicating that?
Unfortunately, I don't now, but I can easily get a letter from the precinct.
And this was previously licensed?
This is a new.
But up until 2013, this building was a restaurant.
This building has 2 different restaurants in it.
No, but I'm talking about this space that he's going into was a restaurant that was licensed until 2013.
I know since then, Chairman, there was a march conducted, and one of these establishments were closed.
Oh, this one was closed?
Yeah. So, and we're always getting residents coming to my office just complaining about this.
Well, so what, I understand that there's a liquor store which presumably closes by 10 every night.
No.
11?
Possibly 11, but not 10.
And so you have basically 2 restaurants. Do we have any history on these restaurants, do you know?
One establishment is at 1292.
No, we have the addresses here.
And 1298.
What, I mean, so is your issue that you don't think this is going to be a legitimate restaurant? Because I can control when he closes, I can control what kind of music he has, or no music.
We feel it's just going to be a burden on this one particular block with 3 bar restaurants, a liquor store.
But what I'm telling you is, based on what I'm supposed to look at, that's not really enough, because there's only 2. I mean, I know you're counting a liquor store and a grocery store, but they don't count on the 500-foot law.
We just feel that the community's interest here, because we're getting multiple complaints from the residents that live there already with the current
I understand that, but I'm trying to, what do you, if I do open this, what do you want? I know you don't want it open, but assume you're not getting what you want. What do you want?
We would like, there were stipulations at the committee regarding hours of operation.
And what were they? Because we don't have those.
I did not submit them in our original letter because it wasn't voted on at the committee level.
Well, the vote on the committee, because it's not a 500-foot case, doesn't really concern me, although I do want to take their concerns into account. So if you recall what those hours were, it would be very helpful.
I think their lawyer has them. Yeah.
Okay.
Just so you know, the other restaurant at 1292 does have history with us.
Does?
Yes.
And what is it?
They had a failure to conform trade name, local and health regs, general disorderlies.
What
all in
years?
2015, 2016, and they paid a $4,000 fine.
And what about the other one?
It looks
I'm
like there
getting
is some adverse history at 1298 Westchester. There were a few licenses.
Ms. Weiss.
Expired in 2015. There's some adverse history back in the early 2000s for health, local regs, visibility, warehousing.
And Jackie, the one you were telling us about was 1292?
Correct.
Okay.
Which is adjacent to this property, and
Right, I
the reason why the board requested that I come here, because this is the one area in our district where it's a lot of issues going on here.
Jackie, that
Yes.
1292?
Yes, still open. The liquor store, the new liquor store does not have history, but the one prior to had a substantial amount of sale minors.
Okay, thank you, I got it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
The restaurant on the corner is a diner that's open from 7 a.m. to 12 midnight.
Well, here's my concern, which before he even spoke was a concern. We shut this place in 2013
Right,
for various reasons.
yes. Mhm.
And it looks like, to me, he's opening the same exact place.
Well, he's been open since July.
I get that, but he's opening the same exact place with a liquor license.
Well, he's been open.
Same method of operation. He's asking for a DJ, he's asking for karaoke, he's asking for patron dancing.
And we had, when we were at the community board meeting, we had told them that he was willing to conform to other method of operation while we were there, and they still wouldn't listen to us. First of all, Sunday through Wednesday, I have all the stipulations here. We went to the.
Well, that was
first
another
meeting.
concern of mine, is that he does not intend on being there 100% of the time, or even 75% of the
In
time.
the evenings, he was definitely going to be there. After 4 o'clock, he was going to be there. He works during the day, but he was going to be there at night.
Well, he wants to be open till 4 a.m., and he was only going to work till 11 p.m. Tuesday through Thursday. That's not all night.
That's on the weekends.
On the weekends, only, on the weekends, he said. He was going to, what hours is he going to be there?
After 4. But on
Till 4 o'clock.
On Friday and Saturday, I'm going to be there myself. I have a little painting.
Okay, so he was willing to change the hours, he was willing to.
No DJ.
No DJ. Take off the DJ. That wasn't any, and we told the board that when we were there, that he was willing to take off the DJ.
They don't want to.
So that wasn't a problem. And he was willing to even adjust the hours. We told the board that. And, but they didn't want to accommodate him.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
The police report.
And then.
Does he have any experience other than this place?
No, but he's been operating, without.
Well, he doesn't have liquor now. Does he have any liquor license experience?
No. But if it's necessary, he'll have a manager. He'll hire another.
I don't want to hear what he's going to have in order for you to get the license. That's not really what this is about.
No, but he has been there for a while, and, police officer Muir came to the meeting and said that he gave his blessing to the place. He said that there were,
Do you have a letter from him? Because he's telling me that they don't want it.
You have the number, still.
I can get a letter from him. He was at the meeting, he was at both meetings, at both the committee meetings, and I could tell you myself that he said that there were no issues and that he gave his blessing at the meeting. And you know that he did also. You know he was at both meetings.
What were the hours the community board gave you?
They actually approved the late hours at the committee
Ms.
meeting.
Weiss, the question is pretty simple.
Yes.
What hours did the community board give you?
They said that Sunday through Wednesday, 9 a.m. to, Sunday 9 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Every day moves to 11, only in the weekends.
Weekends,
can be
Thursday,
3
Friday,
in the morning.
3 a.m. Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays at 3 a.m.
I just want to share I'm from Ecuador.
Why, as a restaurant, do you need to be open till 3 a.m.?
Sometimes people, start asking for a beer. We sell seafood. I just want to share my Ecuadorian community. We don't have a restaurant. We don't have a place around the neighborhood.
Who doesn't?
Ecuador, he's from Ecuador.
How late are you staying open to now? How late are you staying open now?
How late are you open now?
8, 9. On the weekends, 10, 11.
So that with the liquor license, you'd be opening another 5-6 hours, you're talking. Yeah.
How about 2 o'clock?
2 o'clock.
How about 2
I have a
o'clock?
family, I have a little child.
2 o'clock on the weekend? 2
o'clock.
o'clock on the weekends? Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 2 o'clock?
If we can close early, we close early. I just need the opportunity.
Okay, I got nothing else.
Yeah, at this point, I'm going to vote to deny. I think we need some clearer direction from the community board,
Well,
other than just.
No DJ.
Ms. Weiss.
Let me finish.
Speaking.
Something clearer from them. You know, you've got stipulations that they propose. There's nothing in my packet for me to go down, so it's not official. And also, if you have something kind of support from the police department, that would not hurt your case. But at this point, I'm going to vote to deny.
I'm gonna vote to deny as well. He has no experience whatsoever. It's odd, not odd, it's clear that the community board does not want this and has concerns about the area and what's going on there already.
I have,
Ms. Weiss.
And if I was to approve it, there would be no DJ, no karaoke, no patron dancing, and
Yes.
he would shut at 11 every night, but I'm not doing it now, and he already denied it. Because it's, the community board has indicated to me that there is a police concern, and I'm taking them at their word. But that's what's going on. So I'm voting to deny as well.
and he has no
Ms. Weiss,
concern.
Ms. Weiss,
Yes.
they voted. The matter's over. Next item is 864, Chow Hung Inc.
Good morning. Marcodi and Associates for the licensee Chow Hung. I believe this is a failure to supply a bond and...
But we already canceled the license.
Yeah, that matter is up for reconsideration at the next board meeting.
Well, then you better,
Well, I actually have the bond. We got the bond and I have the...
I know, but the license is already canceled, and if we don't reconsider it, you're wasting, like, I was just gonna cancel this for the record, because it's already canceled. If you want me to look at the reconsideration, or us to look at the reconsideration next board meeting, you probably should put this over to the next board meeting.
Okay, it
Correct?
was actually a late,
Why
it
don't we
was
just
a late
hold,
fine.
but let's just hold it over to the 16th.
Actually...
If that's okay with you, Commissioner.
That's fine, yep.
I have a personal may I approach?
Sure. Well, if you want to do a different date, that's fine.
What would be the next board
The
meeting?
30th.
The third, could we put this over to the 30th?
Yes.
So you want both matters over to the 30th?
Yes.
Please.
You got it.
How was that called?
Next item is 854, El Picosi Bar Lounge Inc. Is that yours as well?
Yes, it is. For the licensee, Marcodi and Associates by Louis Chisari. This is a CNC on a license that was canceled over 2 years ago, actually.
Yeah, I'll cancel for the record.
Cancel for the record.
Thank you.
Next item, 829, Galaxy Bar and Grill Corp.
Can we go in the back after they put their name on the record?
Morning. Jared Cooper on behalf of the applicant, Galaxy Bar and Grill. I have with me the applicant, Mr. Carmel Lawazi. I have the security firm representative, Jared Sufling, and I have the proposed manager, Raphael Lester.
Okay, can we take 2 seconds to talk to council? Okay, go ahead.
Back on the record, Jonathan? Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, last time this applicant was here on the 28th of February, you had concerns about the security and about the proposed manager. And actually, you had suggested that we have the application reconsidered if we address those issues, which I believe that we have. We forwarded you a copy of the revised security plan, a copy of an affidavit from Mr. Tony Corradello with the revised security plan, his resume, his partner's here to answer any questions you may have. Mr. Lester is an experienced manager of bar restaurants who will be assisting Mr. Laouzi in the operation of the premises. All of the members here have sat down and had a very extensive conversation about how to implement the security plan. And Mr. Lester has, expressed his, understanding of how to implement the plan, and basically they want to operate the business in an orderly fashion. And so therefore they all understand that in order to do that, they need to adhere to the plan and, operate the establishment accordingly.
Do you have any questions? Because I have now seen this multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Nope.
So this is a restaurant they're running or a tavern?
Actually a venue, a live music venue and a bar.
So what are your hours?
The hours would be Monday through Thursday, 8 o'clock until 2 a.m., and then on the weekends, Thursday through Saturday, 8 o'clock until 4 a.m.
Monday through Thursday, you said till 2, or Monday through
Monday,
Wednesday?
Monday through Wednesday.
And the business model is they want to bring in live music?
Business model is that they want to bring in live music. They also want to, rent it out to weddings and, private events, for people to reserve, and just to be a regular tavern, actually, when it's not operating as a music venue.
Do we have your security plan here?
Yes, you have a revised security, you had an initial security plan, but then you had a revised security plan that Mr. Calderon basically explained to me that there's a nightlife guidelines that doesn't permit it.
That's not our guideline, though.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, like, we have five more security guards than are required.
All right. Maximum capacity, 375 people?
375 people.
And closed on Sundays, I take it?
Indeed.
Any other questions, Chairman?
No.
Yeah, I'll vote to approve based on those hours, Monday through Wednesday till 2 a.m.?
Yes.
You said 4 a.m. on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday?
Yes, sir.
So I'm very familiar with this place, and I think I've denied it twice.
I believe so.
And the Court of Appeals, or the Appellate Division has told me I'm wrong twice, and I do listen to them, so I'm going to listen to them, and I'm going to grant your license, as uncomfortable as it makes me feel, because I don't believe that you're going to be able to do this. And I'm telling you now that the minute we get one complaint, we're going to summary it. And the only reason we're going to do it is because of the history that was there before. This is one of the worst places I've seen since I've been here. Even though your client had nothing to do with it, I don't think it's a viable option. I'm going to grant the license with limits. The hours are going to be 12 during the week and 2 a.m. on the weekends. There's no dancing, no use of promoters. The security required on all nights is a minimum of 10 security guards. And you're going to have to use a metal detector as well as an ID scanner. And the limit is 225 people in the venue.
So there's no dancing? I mean, we have a PA. I mean, there's
No dancing. I mean, unless you tell me I can't do it, then
You're calling a method of operation issue.
this place turned into an absolute nightmare because of dancing, because of the live music, because of the DJs. You come back in a year and show me that there's no problem, then I'll loosen all of it up. But I don't believe there's not going to be a problem.
my client has gone through the process of going to, through the court process to understand, which shows that he understands that, you had concerns. He spent 3 years to, basically get to this point. And I appreciate what you're saying, but his business model basically is, I don't want him to have a problem with someone coming in and saying, there are people dancing, they want to be before you again.
You're gonna have a problem if they're dancing. That's the point. You just indicated to me it's a live music venue with a bar.
Right.
So I don't know, that's not a disco, that's not a club. If you want a club, then you get a club license. But right now it's getting a tavern license. And most taverns we don't have dancing in. And certainly no one with a history like this, with an owner that has no experience. What was indicated to me by the court was that I couldn't hold that history against him and deny the license. I'm not denying the license, but I, for safety reasons and for the public welfare, am putting limits on it until he can prove to me that he can operate the place. And he hasn't proven that to me just because he brings in a security company and a manager that basically the experience of the manager is in restaurants. And you're doing a live music venue. I don't see one live music venue on his resume.
I believe that the requirement for a manager is that the person has experience in the alcohol beverage control.
We have different, for a place like this, that he's running the same method of operation of the place we shut because of how dangerous it was and because the police asked us to. I would hope that, I don't have a problem with his experience either, but you're going to need to prove yourself to me until they get loosened in restraints.
Is there any way that we can stipulate that within 6 months we can come back?
No, it'll be a year. And it's 225 is the max amount of customers. People almost got killed in this place.
Okay, I'm not going to, you've made, thank you. Well, in terms of the stipulations, can you repeat them again so that I can?
Hold on for a second. Commissioner Ford, what's your feeling about those?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about, you said catered events too, such as what?
No, you can dance at the catered event.
A wedding, events that, are private events, namely weddings or, receptions.
Yeah, I was gonna, the no dancing thing, that's what I kind of thought, if you're gonna have those type of events, it's gonna be hard to get those kind of events and tell people, oh, by the way, you can't dance here. So on the private events, we will allow you to have dancing. It's just the public events, we think dancing elevates things to a point of where it might be getting you back to where this place was before.
Okay.
So
I have no doubt that this place is going to end up back where it was before.
Yeah. So if I'm willing to go with the chairman's recommendations, like I said.
All right, so just, Mr. Cooper, so we're all on the same page then.
Yeah.
It is, the hours are Monday to Wednesday to 12 a.m., Thursday to Saturday 2 a.m., maximum occupancy for patrons, 225. No dancing, no promoters, 10 security personnel, a metal detector, ID scanner, and then no dancing is the exception of for catered events. And a year from now, you can come in, the applicant can come in to ask for modification of the conditions.
Yeah. Okay. No dancing except for private events. Yes.
Very good.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Next item, 790, 131 Rivington Street, Restaurant LLC.
Mr. Cooper. Mr. Cooper. Sorry, Frank, I didn't mean to. Go ahead.
I'm trying to figure what happened to Rizzuti. Good morning, my name is Frank Palillo. I believe there's opposition.
Yes.
I'll step aside.
Is your client here?
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, you can sit with him. I just wondered if you were here. Is the opposition here? Can you? We have a couple others too. Why don't you all come up, please, and speak in line?
Thank you, Chris. You wouldn't let me sit next to her before.
Go ahead.
Hello, my name is David Cook.
Hi, I'm Briar Winter.
Why don't you just, after you introduce yourself, say what you want to say.
Okay, this location is very prominent in the Lower East Side, and for people of the area, it has become a symbol of all that has gone wrong in the neighborhood. When the previous restaurant opened in 2004, 14 years ago, the number of places that had full liquor license was much lower than it is now. Nonetheless, the previous restaurant was a big disturbance for its neighbors. First of all, in regard to the traffic. The location is on the corner of two narrow streets where Ubers and taxis don't have a place to pull over. This creates a bottleneck with traffic that gets backed up all the way to the street, which comes off the Williamsburg Bridge. And in the weekend, the honking becomes intolerable because of this. You have to consider that parking in the area has also become impossible, especially after 500 parking spaces have been lost due to the Essex Crossing, which is the biggest residential and commercial development in the recent history of the city, taking place all around the location at 1 or 2 block radius from it. Nightly pedestrian traffic was at its worst when the previous restaurant was open. You have to keep in mind that this is a residential location, and at the same block on Norfolk Street, there are 4 other full licenses, plus now a party venue, and that on Rivington Street, within 1 block, there are also 4 more. And some of these venues are among the worst offenders in the area in terms of noise and rowdy clientele. After the previous restaurant closed, we discovered that it had been able to open and operate under false premises, first of which was the fact that its architect misled the building department by certifying that the zoning characteristics of the lot were both commercial and residential, which is untrue. It's only residential. And then even more serious, we discovered that the place started operating with a temporary C of O that expired 8 months later and that was never renewed because the restaurant never completed the necessary work in order for it to legalize it. So for over 13 years, it did not have a valid C of O, which is something very serious. Another unkosher thing that were done by the previous restaurant was to put its license under safekeeping when it closed. We know that under your rules, one is not allowed to take advantage of this option if the operation ceases to completely exist, as it did in this case. Schiller's Liquor Bar closed definitely on August 15th with no intention to reopen. The lease expired on August 31st, and on the 30th, the signs came down, kitchen was taken away, and the website of the restaurant declared it dead.
See, and I read that in the papers that you submitted, and I don't understand what your concern is, whether it's, because my view is whether it was in safekeeping or not is not determinative of anything here, because no one else has moved in there, so therefore it is grandfathered in no matter what.
So no, in that case, the 200-foot case applies?
No, because it was previously licensed legally under the 200-foot law, and no one else has been in there. There's not another business that's been in there. So whether it was in safekeeping or not, and we've already, on numerous occasions in this, since I've been here, we've grandfathered in places for 2 or 2.5 years that have not been, that there hasn't been a tenant after the licensed premise closed.
This is a break in the...
It's not a break unless there's another business that goes in there. To a certain extent. There is a period of time, but they're not within that period of time yet. I mean, if it was 5 years, you might have a good argument, but it's not even 1 year.
But it cannot be grandfathered because there's a pause.
I'm telling you that it can be. And I'm the one who determines what the grandfathering is.
Okay, well, I feel a note needs to be a comment on the venue that wants to open. It initially asked to stay open until 4 a.m. These are not restaurant hours. It presented a menu of bar food that's meant to go with cocktails. The owner up until now has operated lounges with the same name and the very same menu. And these lounges, as you can see, go from the articles and reviews that I sent you, are places where people go to drink, not to eat or have a meal. People who live in the neighborhood, which is not rich, mostly composed of tenement buildings and projects with strong Chinese and Spanish component, would not go to this lounge. Would mainly be people from the outside who take taxis and Ubers. There are no benefits. In conclusion, you have a location in the area of the city that has been stretched to its limits by the amount of bars and restaurants, and one of the highest densities of nightlife venues in the whole country. You have strong neighborhood opposition, as you can see from the petition that I submitted with 200 actual signatures. You have opposition from the community board, which voted unanimously against it, and you have the opposition from 3 elected officials, Senator Brian Kavanaugh, Assemblymember Yulin Niu, and Margaret Chin. You have a venue that appears to be much worse than the one that preceded it because it's really a bar, masking itself as a restaurant, and in an area that has become exponentially worse in terms of quality of life because of noise and traffic. And you have a previous restaurant that was able to operate by disregarding every rule, and that a location to become operative would have to pass many official hurdles. And you have the school. It's less than 200 feet. I think the community would feel disrespected and disregarded if the full license was awarded in this case. It would feel like a failing of the regulations.
Well, I don't, just so the record is clear, the 200-foot law, we have no discretion over. And we have people that went out and measured it back when this other restaurant opened. And it's not within the 200 feet under the law.
No, it is.
I'm telling you,
used by the principal, Carrie Ricks.
Then you need to go read the law or get a lawyer. I'm telling you that it's not under the law. I can't change what that law is, and I certainly can't override it.
The law is that it's within 200 feet of the door that's used regularly by the students, which it is.
I spoke with the principal.
Yes.
And at the time that the prior license was issued, those doors were used.
One way.
Yeah, they were one way. And the change has occurred while that last license premise was there. So if that's where the contention is, if this location is unlicensed, then the 200-foot law will apply. Right now, as the chairman said, they're grandfathered. The change in circumstance happened with the school. The school uses now those doors both ways.
But that
They
doesn't
do it
change.
now. She said it was only 2 to 3 years ago they made that change. So then they're routinely used for both in the nice weather.
But this is a new license. It's not the same place.
It's not the same place, but the building has not been used for anything else. This space has not been used for anything else, so therefore it's grandfathered in. That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
Okay, but it should initially not have been.
I'm telling you, if it's used one way under the law, that is not a door that's supposed to be measured from.
The initial restaurant should not have been there.
She just talked to the principal, and the
No,
door
I'm
was...
sorry, sir, the initial restaurant, Schiller's, should not have opened in that location because the self-certification of the architect, when he went to apply for the Alt-1, he said that it was both
But
commercial
that's,
and residential.
and you may be right about that, but
That
that's...
is absolutely what
but
happened.
that's, can I finish?
Yes, sir.
That's a Department of Buildings issue. We do not sit here and analyze the zoning law. If they give us a C of O, whether it be temporary or otherwise, that's all we require. If the Department of Buildings inaccurately or in error gave out a C of O that they shouldn't have, there's nothing we can do about that. We don't go back and check and investigate the certificate of occupancy. That's what they're supposed to be doing.
Well, there's an open investigation now.
Well, and if they don't, if this license gets, gets granted, they will not be able to open without a C of O from the Department of Buildings.
Right.
That is what we require, and that's what the last licensee had. If they got it in error or under false pretenses, that's the Department of Buildings' job to shut them down. Because whether they have liquor or not, they can still be a restaurant, and if they're not supposed to be a restaurant, they should shut them down.
Well, according to your own rules, it should not be allowed the safekeeping within the, because Schiller's was permanently closing. You're not allowed to put it in safety.
There are other cases that you're ignoring that don't say that. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's the one who argues the legal parts of this.
So what is that the circumstance?
Well, sir, my suggestion is, I understand that you're trying to make arguments on points, and in all candor, I think that your time would be better served discussing the merits of the application at hand.
Why don't we hear from the rest of the objectors?
My name is Elizabeth Dworkin. I live half down the block, this tiny little block which has 4 liquor licenses on it now, 2 of which are just untenable and awful and are always complaining about. And the cops come and everything else. So when she appeared before the community board, this makes me think that she's just going to be a bad neighbor. It's going to be a bar. We know that all really she wants is a bar, and whatever food that she puts in there is just to satisfy you guys, really. And she was surprised at the fact that there was opposition to her application, which made me realize that she didn't know anything about the neighborhood. And then she was basically utterly disdainful of our arguments that there were already too many bars. 4 o'clock in the morning is too late for most of them anyway, and here's another 4 o'clock. The thing about Schiller's, whether it should have been there or not, it was a real restaurant with a famous chef, and it was relatively quiet compared to the terrible bars. And it didn't stay open till 4 in the morning. It stayed open, 2 at the latest. If she was going to be a real restaurant and wanted to be the same kind of neighbor that Schiller's was, I don't think I would care. But it's just going to be one more lousy bar in the Lower East Side.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you live on Rivington?
Yeah. I live at 125 Rivington. This is 131 Rivington.
Hi, I'm Briar Winters. I live at 157 Rivington, and it's about 2 blocks from the proposed establishment. And my concerns are many. I am in complete agreement with all the concerns that have been aired thus far. In particular, the traffic, I think, is a very big concern. We have traffic coming off of the Williamsburg Bridge, turning up Clinton Street, and then the first turn to get to the heart of where things are going on in the evenings is Rivington Street. And a lot of that traffic is passing right below our window at night, and it's causing honking, noise, in particular of concern. It's also causing road rage violence, which we had an incident of along Rivington Street a few blocks down in front of a hotel. We also had 3 people stabbed on our block due to nightlife-related situations right after the New Year. So my concerns are of safety, noise, traffic. I also have a background in the restaurant business, and to me, an establishment closing at 4 a.m. doesn't really indicate a restaurant. It indicates more of a bar or a lounge, especially given the menu that is going along with this establishment that we saw. And CB3 rejected this application unanimously, and so I think it's very important to listen to that and to see the opposition that's here today. We've all taken the day off of work to come in and do this. So I hope that you'll take that into account.
And the 3 people stabbed, are you referring to Delilah?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I live right about
Share,
that.
right? Yes.
And
That's closed now.
yes, it is.
I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss another one.
Sure, yeah, but it's definitely a concern. Definitely a concern. And another concern is that there's been virtually no outreach by the applicant to block associations and to residents of the neighborhood. And as Liz said, she was very disdainful of us in that CB3 meeting, and that's insulting. When we have gone through so much in our neighborhood, just trying to get to sleep at night, and just trying to be safe and to walk on our own streets. So, in conclusion, we don't feel that this establishment will benefit the neighborhood, and we urge you to stand with the community board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chair Bradley and members of the board. I'm Paul Smith-Leonard. I'm here to represent Councilmember Margaret Chin in this matter, and you should have a letter on file that she wrote a few weeks back. I know this has been adjourned at least once, but I wanted to read into the record and also thank the residents for being here today, taking the time out to express their serious concerns about not just this application, but the general situation in the neighborhood. This is from Councilmember Chin. I am writing to echo the concerns of the community board, voted unanimously, and 200 area residents, some of whom are here today, regarding the safekeeping of a liquor license at 131 Rivington Street that was eventually transferred to a new business without observing proper protocols. And I urge the State Liquor Authority to fully consider these objections and reject this application. I'm deeply concerned by plans to operate an establishment with a limited food menu and a closing time of 4 a.m. from Monday to Saturdays, located approximately 200 feet from a building that houses at least 3 schools. I know you talked to one of the principals, but there are actually 3 schools in the immediate vicinity. That includes the School for Global Leaders, Lower East Side Preparatory High School, and Marta Valle High School. In order to ensure that this restaurant does not devolve into yet another club in this neighborhood, critical stipulations must be enforced, including but not limited to earlier operating hours, adequate soundproofing and noise mitigation measures, the installation of an appropriate kitchen, which we hear has been dismantled, and any other recommendations proposed by the community board and local residents. unless the applicant demonstrates that the granting of this application would serve public interest and commit to these stipulations, I cannot support the grandfathering of a licensed establishment so close to schools in a community already saturated with similar late-night establishments with full-on on-premise liquor licenses. The council member goes on to request that the SLA fully consider, and I trust that you will, these conditions as they review the application. I know that members of the board have actually toured the neighborhood. They have seen the conditions on the ground. These neighbors are talking about very serious safety issues, and we're really looking to have the entire picture be brought to account when considering this application, not just on its merits, but on the context of its proximity to schools and the proximity to similar establishments, about whether or not this application truly represents the public interest. I appreciate your time.
I did go there last night, as a matter of fact, just to see it, get an idea of the neighborhood, the school, all that kind of stuff, so. All right.
And double the amount of people on the street. It was a Tuesday night you went, so imagine it on a Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, and I wasn't there at night, I was there early evening, so.
I have been there at night.
Yes, we're familiar
The
with
old
it.
location.
Yeah.
Mr. Palillo.
Good morning. This, I don't know where to start. There's a menu that was submitted with this application. That's a complete menu. There's no question it's not a bar menu. It's very seafood-centric. It's not just raw either. There's plenty of cooked seafood. Andrea has been licensed in New York State since
1999.
with never once having graced your presence with a disciplinary proceeding. She's never once had an issue. She's a good operator. In addition to that, the community board indicated that they did approve Schiller's Liquor Bar when it was applied for. I was the attorney who handled that application. In the resolution, the community board points out that 15 years ago, it was in the public interest because there weren't that many bars and restaurants around. But now that there are more bars and restaurants in the neighborhood, this particular location is no longer in the public interest. My argument with that, and my answer to that, is that the public interest was indeed served by that restaurant being there for 15 years. To the best of my knowledge, there were no disciplinary proceedings with that license.
No, there weren't.
I believe.
I actually, because some of the written materials we received indicated what a problem that particular restaurant was. So I actually had my people go and investigate not only our complaints, but the 311 calls, as well as the 911 calls. And over the course of that restaurant's operation, they were exceedingly minimal, given the neighborhood that it was in.
I did the same thing. I think it was 2, actually, in the 15 years the premises were there. 311 calls. We can't do anything about the traffic. The traffic is going to be there whether this restaurant is there or not. And I stress the words restaurant. This is not a bar. This has been a restaurant before. It will always be a restaurant, at least as long as we have it.
There's
I have
some pretty narrow streets it's on. Excuse me for interrupting, Counselor. It's a very narrow street corner that it's on, and I watched traffic for a while yesterday when it wasn't that busy, and I can only imagine what it's like when it is busy.
I'm guessing you were there probably close to rush hour-ish, 3, 4 o'clock.
A little later than that, yeah.
Earlier even.
A little later than that, yeah.
Oh, later.
Yeah.
I have no doubt that being a narrow street, it's also, I think it's a east-west thoroughfare. Rivington. Should be east-west.
No. Well, I think he's using the word, it's a synonym for road. I think it's the other way, though, isn't it?
No, it's
west-east, right?
It's west-east.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I meant it goes
Rivington
quick.
is, Yeah.
In addition to that, we've submitted, in addition
Okay, thank you.
In addition to that, we've submitted to you our traffic experts report as well as our sound experts report. Both of our experts are here today. If you have any questions based on their reports, I'd ask them to at least come up, earn your keep.
Can they just summarize the reports?
They're actually here if you have any questions. You've seen the report.
No, I mean, can you just give me
Oh, absolutely.
your conclusion?
So-
I read your report, I just want it on the record.
Hi, Evan Lamanitas. Right, we were commissioned to prepare the traffic report. Just real briefly, right, as Frank mentioned, and as everybody knows, traffic is heavy.
And you're a traffic consultant, I take it?
I'm a traffic consultant and done many of
How
these
does one become a
studies.
traffic consultant?
I go to school, get a degree, and get different.
Because most people hate traffic, that's why.
I've worked for a number of consulting companies and for the city in the past, and so.
Okay.
And the streets are narrow. Okay, a couple of quick summary points. The city's own environmental quality review manual indicates that a restaurant needs to be at least 20,000 square feet to typically cause a traffic impact. At roughly 4,000 square feet, there was very little likelihood that the restaurant would cause an impact. Nevertheless, we were hired to do a full traffic study and found, indeed, there are no significant impacts associated with the operation of the restaurant. As far as the narrow streets, there is a hydrant on the corner, as shown in our report, on the northbound Norfolk Street approach. So there's some space for cars to momentarily drop and pick up passengers without interrupting the flow of traffic. As far as the intersection itself, it is narrow, but the traffic really, if you out there, you might have noticed, is more controlled by the downstream intersection at Essex Street, which has a major traffic light, and so the traffic backs up from that location past the restaurant location, and so the one car per every 3 minutes that may have to drop off or pick up a passenger would not create a bottleneck at that location. The bottleneck is really happening downstream. The last point I want to make is that if an Uber or a cab is dropping off a passenger or picking up at that location and Rivington Street is backed up from Essex Street, they're much more likely to just head up Rivington, which is much lighter, and get out of the flow of traffic. We looked at the accident history, and in the 6 years that we had data for from 2012 till currently, there were only 2 accidents on either of the approaches. That's well below, and that was during the operation, as you know, of the former venue, so there's certainly not any safety issues associated with drop-offs and pickups.
Okay.
Thank you.
My name is Alan Firestein. I'm the president of Acoustalog. I've seen you folks before. Thank you for letting me talk. I did a sound study a few weeks ago in the space, although I understand that there's never been any noise violation in the previous restaurant. The kitchen, by the way, there's a picture of it in my report. It has not been dismantled, but they don't have any stove or refrigerators, so that the counters, the kitchen hood, the mechanical equipment is still not only there, but it was actually operating for some reason while I was there. I've made recommendations in my report that the sound level will be no greater than 83 dBc, which is not loud music, it's moderate level music. In fact, it's exactly the same level that you, Mr. Chairman, were producing over the sound system as I was sitting in the second row while you were talking. So it's not really...
Your ears are that good?
No, I have a little sound meter app on my phone, which I calibrated to make sure it's an accurate app, not a junky app.
So can you talk about, I saw your recommendations, and I've been in this space, and it has a significantly high ceiling, which is also metal, I believe, right?
It's a tin ceiling, and there's tile. It's a complete acoustic nightmare for the people inside the place. So I've recommended,
That's
it's
what
optional.
I recall, yeah.
It's optional. Look, all restaurants are noisy. I'm hired all the time to make recommendations to how to make a completely hard-surfaced restaurant quiet without making any aesthetic changes, which is, of course, impossible, but they end up taking them. The issue, however, that I'm concerned with is sound leaking out. That's the primary concern because that affects neighbors, and the nearest neighbors who would be affected by this space would be upstairs.
There's 5 floors above you, yeah.
Yeah, well, obviously the worst one is the second floor directly above, so I couldn't get into the apartment directly above it, but I was in the hallway above the space, and I added a generous amount of sound decibel rating for my testing because I couldn't get into that direct apartment. And in fact, I added 10 decibels, which I assume would be twice as
10
loud.
above the 83?
No, 10 above the levels that I actually measured in the space, which in the low frequencies was 54 to 55 decibels. You can see it in the chart on page 3. So I assumed it would be 65 decibels, which I said, I'll read it. The 55 decibel bass sounds upstairs would therefore be 65 decibels or 20 decibels above the code limit. and that's based on me testing with 103 decibels of sound. So if it's 20 decibels too loud, you drop the sound level to 83. And actually, I was just talking to Ms. Cohen, and she told me that she uses exactly that same system I'm recommending, 8 distributed loudspeakers in her present establishment, where she's also gotten no violations. So she has no problem with background music at this level. 8 speakers should be no problem.
And then you say the ceiling is optional. Why? Because the other stuff you look like you should be doing.
Well, to sum it up briefly, there's 2 types of materials that can be used in controlling sound. Here you have acoustic tiles that absorb reflections in the room. That doesn't prevent sound from leaving the room. That just prevents it from bouncing around for a long period of time, what you call reverberation time. Then there's sound blocking materials. Those are materials that are usually heavy, like sheetrock, plaster, wood, and those materials already exist. But if they want to play louder music, they would have to put in a drop ceiling of 2 layers of sheetrock, which I give as an optional recommendation.
So you're telling me at 83 decibels, without changing the ceiling, and you going upstairs to the second floor, they're within the legal limits?
Correct.
Which is
Absolutely.
55, you said?
No, the legal limit is, there's 2 legal limits. For mid-range sound, it's 42 decibels. For bass sounds, it's 45 decibels, which is roughly the level of a whisper.
And what were they at upstairs on the second floor?
Well, when I measured, it was 54 to 55 using 103 decibel blasting sound system.
And did you go remeasure it at 83, or you just dropped it to 20?
I just drop it. You can't measure it at 83 because you wouldn't hear anything upstairs, and you wouldn't be able to distinguish it from background noise from traffic coming into the stairwell.
Okay. And then these other recommendations,
you have pipes, required work, because I don't want any exposed pipes in the ceiling.
Right.
And there's a picture of one of them. The walls and columns are optional. And the sound absorption, which you...
but that, when you say optional, is that as big a lift as redoing the ceiling?
Yeah, the ceiling is optional also, and incredibly expensive.
Okay.
What kind of music is being proposed for this location anyway?
I didn't ask what type, but Ms. Cohen could answer that.
Yeah.
Anything and everything, but it's just background music. Nothing that's offensive. I'm an adult. I run an adult business, and it's,
Like
60s, 70s, 80s background music.
No DJ?
Absolutely not.
No DJ?
I've never had a DJ in any of my establishments, ever.
No band?
No. No.
And
I,
I'm just asking.
No. Look, I've had bongo on the west side for 10 years. I've never had a DJ. I've never had a band there. Never had anything there. I have background music, and that is it. And there's no one here that could prove anything else.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm done.
You're done playing. I actually think that the tin ceiling is not staying. We will be ripping the tin ceiling down. It was nice 15 years ago, but it's kind of...
To do what?
Put up an insulated ceiling.
So you are taking all of his recommendations, or?
We're taking the recommendations, yes. However, we don't feel the need to do the extensive ceiling soundproofing that Al's recommending. We believe once we pull the tin down and soundproof, we'll solve the problem.
And my recollection is that this has outside French doors, or?
Yeah, French doors, yes.
And what were the previous licensee, he was required to close them at 10, or?
This license, when approved, was approved without stipulations back in whatever it was, 2000 or so.
2003 or
I
2002?
don't believe there were stips.
There
We
were
have
no,
no problem.
there were no stipulations.
Yeah, we have no problem
So-
with closing the windows
At 10?
We're not anything but a restaurant.
Yes.
Neighbor Schiller's Liquor Bar was ordered by the SLA to close their doors at 10 o'clock on the weekdays, and I had to go personally and ask them every night to close them then.
I didn't see anything in the file.
That may be, we're talking about stipulations. We did not have stipulations on the old license, that's all doesn't mean there's not going to be on this one.
There was a community board meeting to be had.
You may be correct, I'm just asking.
I did the last license.
Okay.
What's the capacity?
Actually 120, but we're only seating about 78. could be 120, it's only 78.
Hours?
Andrea, this is you.
Okay. I have a place now. I close at 12 o'clock almost every night that I'm open. So whenever I get a liquor license, I always ask for 4 a.m. Rarely am I ever open past 1 o'clock in the morning. 12 o'clock is usually the time that I like to close, so.
We don't need 4 o'clock.
I don't need 4 o'clock.
We applied for 4 o'clock because the prior premises had no stipulation on their hours.
But,
So you'd be kind of foolish to put.
and I know this for a fact, they were not open ever till 4 o'clock.
They were. They were.
Very, never when I was near there.
It's agreed that pretty much by 1 or 2 o'clock they were done.
We're talking about the previous location. I know my locations that I've had for 20 years. When I was in Chelsea, I stayed open until 2 a.m. I had a liquor license till 4 a.m. and I could stay open, and I was the first one there, and all the clubs came around me. My new location, which is there 10 years now, I stay open until about midnight when I'm open. That's really it. No one can prove otherwise.
Maybe 1 on the weekend.
Sometimes 1 on the weekends, yes, but,
What about lines? How do you propose to deal with lines outside getting in?
I don't do anything like that.
Nothing.
I have people sit down and eat. I don't have lines outside. I'm not a club, and unlike how I've been presented, I'm not a club at all. People sit at tables, or they sit at lower, loungier seating.
However, if lines ever became an issue, I'm sure we'd work out some sort of paging system where we call people to come when their table's ready. I don't anticipate it here. It's a restaurant.
I mean, people can come in and wait at a bar for their table. I mean, that's
12 seats.
what we do. So, I mean, I don't think that's an issue.
Okay.
Stay.
You have any other questions, Chairman?
No.
All right. I went down to take a look at it for myself, just so I could see where it is on the Lower East Side, and I'm sympathetic, and I understand the residents' desire to not have anything else proliferate down there. But this is a place that was there before, and we, as an agency, we really have no adverse history for them. Am I correct in that, Counselor? Yeah, we have nothing that they did that was terrible. The residents have issues that obviously we never brought to our attention, but there's only 1 or 2 or 3 311 calls. Is that what you said?
There was actually 4. I think only 1 or 2 were actually related to us.
Yeah. And right now, the place is it's a closed-up eyesore. I don't see how that does anybody any good. So I'm willing to approve it, but there's going to be some stipulations. No DJ, no band, no live music, all that sort of stuff. Just recorded background. The closing of the doors outside, that will be at 9 p.m., not 10. You are installing soundproofing, taking all of those recommendations of your soundproofing consultants?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
I like the tin ceiling, so that's not standing.
All right. Hours, I'm willing to give you to midnight during the week. Are you talking about be open 7 days a week?
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's say midnight Sunday through Wednesday and 1 o'clock on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Suit your needs.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, no lines outside. Capacity, you said about 78, is that what you expect?
7 days are seating, yes, sir.
Yeah. I'll give you a capacity of 100.
The last C of O and the one that's going to be renewed is 120, but we're not using it.
Right. Okay.
We don't, can't really do 120 in there.
Yeah, I'm going to make it 100. And you can always come back, we can talk about that later.
That
But,
including workers or not including workers?
no, just 100 customers. 100 customers, not
Thank you.
including workers.
More seats than we have, that's fine.
So I'm willing to approve under those conditions.
Thank you.
Is another vote? You pretty much hit exactly what I was going to say, so. I think, given the councilwoman's recommendations, I think we hit every one of her points, or Commissioner Ford did, so I'll vote to approve with the same stipulations. And I believe, given that this is I know there's complaints about the menu, but I don't see it. This is, to me, a restaurant menu. It would certainly be sufficient for many of the restaurants that we have licensed throughout the state. It's a different type of restaurant. It's a seafood restaurant than the one that was previously there. But given the testimony of the sound engineer as well as the traffic consultant, I think there is a public interest in opening this place. I don't anticipate that it's going to be a community problem, similarly to the last one, which also was not a community problem. And as Commissioner Ford said, I think there's a public interest in relicensing it. So I'm going to vote to approve under those stipulations. And they all should be part of the license.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item, 837, Canoe Hill Vineyards.
I'm sorry, what was that number again?
837.
Because I almost did. Check that one. Yeah.
Can you just put your name on the record?
Charles Crampton, counsel for Canoe Hill Vineyard, and Neil Grossman, one of the managing partners.
So can you guys just confirm that the second floor is not going to be licensed?
That is correct. It is not licensed at all. It's not used by the winery at all.
Okay, so I'll vote to reconsider and send back to licensing.
Send it back.
Back to licensing.
Right. Thank you very much.
I'll make sure.
Next item, 794, AAA and GP Liquors Corp.
Morning, Jay Nam, representing AAA GP Liquors Corp. This is an application, with me is Mr. Guzman, who's the principal licensee. This is an application to remove the current packaged liquor store to 930 feet away, on the same side of the street, the same avenue, because we couldn't renew our current lease. We will continue to serve the same neighborhood.
Okay, let me stop you there. Is there any objectors here for this? Okay, go ahead.
We'll continue to serve the same neighborhood in a similar fashion in terms of store size and clientele. And we are mostly moving away from most existing stores.
Why is he moving?
The lease is up and we couldn't renew the lease.
The landlord wouldn't renew the lease?
No.
Is he bulletproof?
Yes.
And the new one's going to be bulletproof too?
Yes.
It's actually going to be
Smaller.
170 square feet. He's losing 170
We're
square
losing,
feet.
it's a smaller place, 530 square feet.
Do we have any history with this?
Oh,
Nope.
We did get one protest from which one?
Near Cadbury?
It's the fifth closest store.
Oh, right. Who's 0.8 miles away. He's not even one of the four closest. I'll vote to approve this. It appears that you're only moving down the street. You're on the same side of the street. I don't even think that four closest stores change. Right. So whatever, there's not going to be an effect on any of your competitors. So I'll vote to approve.
I'm going to vote to approve as well. You're still just about the same distance from your closest competitors you were. You're still about a block and a half away, so I'll vote to approve as well.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners.
Next item, 883, Chusha's Inc.
Can you repeat the number?
883.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. My name is John Angrisani, and I'm the attorney for Touche Zinc. One of the principals is here next to me, Shayla Williams, and Mr. Ram. One of the gentlemen that works there also is here also. And this is a summary suspension matter. We had a trial, the decision. I would note that the first 5 charges were not sustained at trial.
Well, so let me just go through them. 1 through 5 dismiss, sustain 6, sustain 7, sustain 8, sustain 9, sustain 10, sustain 11, sustain 12, sustain 13, sustain 14, sustain 15, sustain 16, sustain 17, dismiss 18, sustain 19, sustain 20, sustain 21, sustain 22, dismiss 23, sustain 24 and 25, and dismiss 26. So you're right, the first 5 were.
Yes.
After that, we have a lot of charges that were sustained.
I understand. I just say this. They've had a license for 5 years. There was never any problem up until maybe this year.
That's not true. We got disorderly premises in February of 2017, September of 2015, November of 2015, as well as police focal points, sustained pattern of noise and disorder, and failure to supervise in March of 2017, which is all very similar to what's going on here, which led us to have to shut it.
I understand the concerns of the board. However, I would just note there were 2 trials that we had on this matter. It was summarily suspended back on February 14th. Since that time, we've had 2 trials. In this first trial that we had, like I said, the first 5 charges, which are the most serious, were all dismissed. What was sustained, based upon the 21 tickets that were issued on one night, were an extension cord that was being used for a cell phone.
You say.
I understand that, but that was the testimony there.
That's not the testimony that I read. I read it was going to the DJ booth.
Okay, that's maybe what...
Either way, it's not legal. See, the stuff that, what goes off in my mind when I read this decision is dozens of people in a place, a fire starting, and dozens of people getting hurt or dead. And not to mention the other issues that they've already been charged with previously and clearly didn't fix given the events that have occurred.
I would say this about that. With regards to the fire issue, there are 4 exit doors. There was one that was only used by staff. That was not changed by them. It had been pre-existing from before, which did not have a push bar. They've remedied that matter. There was one exit sign that was not illuminated, which is the same door that was used only by the staff. They've put that, they fixed that. With regards to books and records, they had books and records. And these books and records were also asked for prior by the inspectors of the authority. They were forwarded to the authority. They have fireproofing on all the curtains. The testimony at the trial and was uncontroverted. They have all the affirmations, all the affidavits with regards to fireproofing, and all the fire curtains had at the bottom the certification that was needed. That was uncontroverted at the trial. With regards to the fire extinguishers, all the
We're not going to argue facts here. I mean, I'm not going to redo the trial. The bottom line is you had 26 charges. You have 18 of those charges sustained on a place that I had to send out an investigator to summarily suspend. And not to mention we had to do a full hearing in order to do it because this place is not safe. And it's been, they've been open for, as you pointed out, prior to this, they were open for about 5 years. They got a pretty good warning in 2015, 2016, and 2017, and they clearly didn't heed it because it got worse. It didn't get better. So I don't know what you want me to do here because what they're looking at, financially, it would ruin them anyway.
With all due respect, I understand the board's concern. However, There's a reason why this happened, and I don't think it's really the licensee's fault that much, okay? I understand.
So don't even go down that road, because the bottom line here, anything that happens in this place is a licensee's fault. That's why they're the licensee.
Okay, I understand that. Of the 21 tickets that were issued?
26,
Oh,
actually.
26, I'm sorry. For the record, it's my understanding that all of them were dismissed in criminal court.
Well, that's not our standard.
That the police department could have closed the place down immediately and brought an immediate closure and brought an order to show cause in Supreme Court. That also did not happen.
We don't have the same standard.
I understand that, but I just want that to be known to this board. This was a good licensee.
They're not.
She's got
They're
a
not.
small-
That's my point here, is that this stuff that went on here means to me that they're not. This isn't a place that just got out of control. It's a place they weren't taking care of.
She's remedied all those.
Well,
issues. There's no underage allegations here.
Yeah, I do. I'm going to.
I'm so sorry? Is there anything else coming in for this?
Yes, and this is my suggestion.
we have
at
other
this-
charges?
Oh, yes, and this is my suggestion at this point. While the summary does exist on this particular case, if the board is going to impose a penalty on this particular case, I would ask that the summary is transferred to the second case where an ALJ decision is in the can. However, it has not made it to the board yet, where a focal point was sustained.
And what were what were the dates of those charges?
The focal point that is in the case that will be coming before the board is from March 12, 2017 to January 11, 2018.
So all of these charges were February of 2018. They already knew that they had these charges. And so you're telling me that they fixed everything? After we went there 3 times, they fixed it?
No, I'm not saying that, okay? What I'm saying is, those charges are separate and apart from what occurred here.
But they're already sustained from what he's telling
Well,
me.
I have an ALJ decision, but it has to come before the board,
Right.
obviously.
I mean, wait, so I don't know, I don't know what you want me to do here, because financially, they're not going to be able to do this. So the best thing to do here is walk away.
I would ask that if there is a financial penalty, that the board could consider a financial
I
penalty.
would give you one here and take the revocation on the next one and transfer the summary. There's no point.
I don't know what that decision says.
Well, he's telling you what it says.
He's telling me that there was one sustained out of I don't know how many.
It's I can't, it's
Oh,
26
well, I mean, we're
pages.
not going to argue about that here, but I mean, I'm going to save everybody the heartache here and just cancel and bond this. Because it really is not, there's really no point. They're going to end up paying you again. They're going to end up coming back here, and we're going to end up in the same place a month from now. There's no point.
I don't know what that decision says.
It was mailed out Monday, so you should have it shortly.
If that's in fact true,
It's already in the mail. Tell them what it says then. I didn't know it was in the mail. Just tell them what was sustained.
It's going to take me a minute to go
Okay.
through all the...
You don't have to read it. Just go to the last page.
Control N gets you there faster.
Focal point. Yeah, police car. And some of 1066 is dismissed. I mean, this...
So the focal point's enough.
Yeah, that's enough by itself.
Chairman, I would just ask that that issue be addressed at some other point. I just want to note here one last thing. My client opened up this bar with her cousin 5 years ago. They've had no problem since up until recently. They're 35-year-old young women, employ about 10 people in the bar. The testimony at both trials was that they're good licensees from the police officers.
I can't keep this open, given what's coming down the road. I'm canceling and bonding, and I was going to revoke it, but I will not revoke it. I'll cancel and bond.
I think that's the easier, less expensive way for you in the long run, too, is cancel and bond.
Thank you. She'd like to say something, is that
Sure.
okay?
I have been, we opened in July of 2013. 2015 was our first incident of a disorderly premise. It was a family matter. We had no control over it. 2016, we didn't have an issue. 2017 was when everything ensued. I believe that it was because when we switched the security company, that caused the issue. That was the break in the issue. We are surrounded by 4 public housing developments. We knew this going in. If you look at any of the records, none of the charges have to do with anything that took place inside the venue. And every time I have to speak with the NCOs, they tell me it's a proximity clause.
But that's not going to change.
But this is, and I understand that. But what I can say is that we have spoken with the Inspector Hennessy. I have spoken with Cedric Lofton, and we have their support. This all stemmed from the Senior Citizen Center across the street from us. I have no control. Ms. Cedric Lofton, District Manager of Community Board 1, informed me just last Thursday that we don't have a file on you. You guys have never given us a problem.
But see, the
Even
problem is I
Inspector
have a
Hennessy.
big file on you now.
But this is, and I understand
I mean, I
that.
feel for you. I understand that you tried the best you could, but it wasn't enough, and it became a danger.
So from January, when SLA first came, to February, we made changes. The fire extinguisher not being on the wall, that was fixed. It was fixed.
There were 18 different things that went on.
Okay, that was one. The blown
And the
out light
events,
bulb.
even though the disorderly premises was not attributed to your behavior, that stuff still happened.
Yeah, but it's not.
But
what
so
we
that
were
adds
there
to the
for.
danger there's that stuff still occurring. Not to mention all of the things that weren't being done inside the establishment properly. Not to mention the stuff that's coming down the road. We have no choice.
Our security guard was attacked, and we get a disorderly premise. If someone comes in the street and tries to rob our establishment, how are we?
You have
on
to
the
get
hook
more
for that?
security.
We have 4.
Then you need 8.
We're not even
That's my
large
point.
enough
Is
for that.
whatever happens in your establishment, no matter how it happens, is your fault.
Exactly.
Well,
And
so, but that's
inside.
you're paying for that now.
Inside, but why are we being shut down because of things
Because
that
of
we
the
have
history and
corrected?
because of what's here. It doesn't,
But
you can't correct it after we shut you in a summary. It's too late.
But what I'm
Ma'am, I've listened to you, and I'm sorry that this is the way this is going, but there's no choice. I can't keep that open, because you know who they're going to look at? If something does happen there and somebody gets hurt, me. And I'm not willing to risk that on
has
you.
not been the issue. No one has gotten hurt.
Yeah, luckily.
But any of the issues that are outlined here, where's the danger?
If the police are a focal point, that means they're coming because there's a risk.
Point on all the 4 bars in the area.
Then it doesn't belong there.
But then why are we the only ones being subject and targeted?
You're not.
We are.
No, we go to anybody that complains about a bar, we go there. Listen, there's no way this is going to end any differently. I'm
but
sorry.
I have to, this doesn't make sense to me that there's 4 bars in the area. There's 4, and the other bars have shooting, stabbings inside
All I
the
can
venue.
talk about is what happened here.
But
I'm not even
nothing
familiar.
nothing happened here.
The ALJ tells me differently.
Can you look at
I did look at it.
But the decisions are based on a fire extinguisher that we put back on the
they're
wall.
based on much more than.
blown out
There
light bulb.
are 18. There are unlicensed security guards.
No,
There's
my
maximum.
security guard was secure.
There's maximum.
Everyone was licensed.
You went beyond your maximum occupancy after you had already done it once. You were a focal point previously. This was not being run safely. Now, I'm done talking about it. I'm sorry. This is all I have no choice here, as far as I'm concerned. I was at revoking. I'm not revoking it, which would have meant you couldn't get a license in this spot for 2 years. I'm not revoking it. But I have no choice but to close it. We do, how many summaries do we do a year? Maybe 24? We go out and shut places. It takes a lot to be able to shut a place.
But this was all on one night. This was the night.
It was not one night.
This was one
No,
night.
what's the previous history in 15 and 16? That's 2 other nights.
That was a disorderly premise for a personal
I've
matter.
tried to explain it to you as best I can. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know where you're voting.
No, I'm with canceling the bond as well. I just think that it would be better and less costly for you, because if we find you, I don't know that you can pay that either. So.
Well, can we get a fine amount? Can we just get a fine amount?
No. I'm not going to a fine. I have to close this place. I don't think council disagrees with me, do you?
No, I think it would be disingenuous to take money and then cancel on the next one if we're going to do that, because then.
The focal point is would have been automatic because you already had another one.
But the
It doesn't-
officer, the inspector himself.
It doesn't matter. We had an ALJ who listened to the evidence, and they've already sustained that charge. That's coming in the mail. That would have been automatic because you already have another one that you've already agreed.
We have never had a focal point
Yes, you did.
issue.
What's the previous,
never had a
the
focal
history?
point
I mean, I can look
history.
again, but I
Ever.
thought that was on the bottom.
Yeah, focal point for police attention.
When?
3/12/17.
That's all 2017. That's
I
what
don't,
I'm
you don't
explaining.
get a new, just because there's a new year doesn't mean you get a clean slate.
No, what I'm explaining
All right.
is the focal point from 2017, this is all stemming from the one issue. This is all
They're
stemming
not, it's
from.
more than one issue. This is, ma'am, this is over. I don't have any other choice. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. The next item are items 870 and 871. Agua Roja Bar and Restaurant Corp. Yeah, come on up, Frank.
I mean, that wasn't even close.
71.
Was it?
So it's two separate items, both are reconsiderations.
Oh, 270 and 71?
870 and 871.
The visibility. Yeah.
It's all Agua Roja?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have 871, but whatever.
Morning, my name is Frank Palillo. I have with me.
Can you, we should, okay. Go ahead. I was just going to show her this history too, but, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Introduce yourself.
Cynthia Marte Dominguez.
This is not that easy for me because I didn't try this case, fortunately. There's a large number of charges, the majority of which were sustained. When you look at the charges carefully, though, there's really three that stick out, as far as I'm concerned. As far as multiples, the overcrowding, disorderly premises, and the noise. I believe, actually, this is a request for reconsideration.
You're right.
Members, I believe, revoked and prescribed.
Yes.
With reference to the noise issue, this is a completely commercial neighborhood. There are no residences who are being disturbed. I cannot retry this case, obviously. Mr. Randall will jump across the counter at me. The premises have been overcrowded, and the premises did indeed have disorderly concerns. But as you are well aware, these are a very, very confined period of time. The premises have been closed now for, I think, 7 weeks. And although it's difficult for me to do this after that, we most respectfully request that you reconsider this decision. This woman's entire livelihood is in this business, and she can make a go of it, we're sure of it. Problems with things like the posting and display and fireworks and address really inflate the number of charges here.
But I do believe that, again, we have a sustained focal point, sustained failure to supervise, sustained pattern of noise disorder. So there are serious charges that were
Agreed.
sustained. So
Agreed, but those three charges all come out of the three that I basically, we're not getting that for frosted glass.
yeah, that's the other one, yeah.
We're not getting that for frosted glass. We're asking you not to take this woman's livelihood away. We have been closed, as I've said, for nearly 2 months.
Yes. I mean, but see, this is what drives me insane. I'm looking at her history, and we have unlicensed security guards, January 2013. Get the message, right?
Yes.
Well, then we get it again on June 2013.
That's before these charges.
I get it.
No, I'm asking.
But this is someone who's not listening.
Well, she's listening now.
Well, of course she is, because I revoked the license.
Well, I mean.
But how much money do you have to pay to figure out that you need to get a licensed security guard after we come in and write you up for one?
Mr. Chairman.
No, I'm asking her, how much do you have to pay? Because now you're asking me to do you a favor, and you've got nothing in your history that would indicate to me that I should believe you.
Okay. You don't have an answer for that, right? Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a statement. I stand here every 2 weeks. There's a huge disconnect between the things that you say to me and the things that I say to clients. They don't hear it. They don't get it. You're 100% correct. Clients are stupid. I'll put it on the record. Clients are stupid. They don't listen to us. It drives us
And then he's
nuts.
going to go outside and say, board members are stupid.
Yeah, right. It's not like cutting off my nose. But the key,
No, you'll wait till you're outside the door, I know that.
but the key, though, is that you brought up security guards. Well, fortunately, there are no security guards here. That's something we learned about.
Wasn't there a homicide here?
No, that I'm aware of.
I think I'm reading from the decision that, page 12, that he believes that the officer testified he believes has been the cause of 4 assaults, 1 grand larceny, and 1 homicide. 3/2017, homicide happened at the bar.
What paragraph you want on 12?
The third? I'm on a screen, so I apologize if I'm getting this.
No, he says loud music and double parked cars in 3.
Believes that has been the cause of 4 assaults in the 3rd degree, 1 grand larceny, 1 homicide in his precinct. Since March 2017, where a homicide happened at Agua Roja, there have been directed patrols at the establishment.
Tell them.
There was not a murder at your bar.
No, correct. I did, there was
Was there a
not.
murder around your bar?
It was past the other streets.
Was that a customer of yours?
I mean, the fight was over.
Dead person or the...
The fight was over at the
You have to tell them, not me. The fight was at a different premises?
different,
Which place?
at the place that sells the 24-hour smoke shop that's on the corner.
We don't
That's
have...
where the fight began.
We don't have a homicide here, and the statement that it...
No, and to be honest with you, that's not my concern. It goes back to the same thing. There's a failure to supervise, there's multiple overcrowding, and the focal point isn't just them. They're having directed patrols here because they feel like this place needs them. That, to me, tells me that the neighborhood doesn't need it. Why should the police have to spend their resources protecting the people that live around you from your place? I mean, I don't think they should. And that's what they're doing.
I don't disagree with you. But I will say to you that we did learn the security guard lesson. Security guards are not an issue. All security guards are licensed and bonded. In addition to that, they have taken this last 6 weeks to change the entire operation. We have a new security company. We will have a brand-new staff, all new management. She will be spending much more time there than she has in the past. This is fixable. These are not the type of things, I mean, Mr. Chairman, respectfully, these go directly to operation. Go directly to operation.
Counselor, is there anything here since late 2017? Do we have anything else pending?
No, they've been
Everything
shut.
been
Oh, that's right, they were
closed.
shut down.
But I do also note that in the 118 sustained charge, which is charge 20, that the ALJ found people from the establishment are having sexual intercourse in the parking lot, large groups of people congregating outside, underage drinking, public urination, and noise, I think is how they came to sustaining the 118 charge.
Yeah, I can't keep this open, I'm sorry. I'll give you cancel and bond since you did come back here. I'll reconsider that.
Would you reconsider a lengthy suspension?
No, I can't keep it open. There's just too much going on here. And, you know, the minute that the police, and this is pretty consistent here, the minute that the police have to do directed patrols at a place, I'm just not comfortable keeping it open. So I'll cancel and bond it, though. I'll reconsider and cancel and bond.
Combine both matters
Yes.
and cancellation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Cancel and bond.
Thank you for your consideration.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next item is 806, 158 Ludlow Rest LLC.
What was that number again there?
806.
Chairman, you wanted to speak in the back about this one?
Yeah.
Yes, we're back on the record. And the item is 806, 158 Ludlow Rest LLC.
So I have some problems with this. I think you figured I probably would.
When you took a break, it was clear.
I'm going to dismiss 1, 2, and 3. The ALJ also dismissed 4, 5, 6, and 7. But I'm not. I'm going to sustain 4, 5, 6, and 7 because I think 1, 2, and 3, the events occurred and they were certainly spontaneous, but I think they also showed that changes needed to be made that were not made, and that's clearly a pattern to me of events that are occurring at this place that needed heightened security that did not occur. So I'm going to sustain, unless Commissioner Ford disagrees, I'm going to sustain 4, 5, 6, and 7 because I think the evidence indicated and the events that occurred indicated that the security was lax and that changes should have been made that would have avoided these events. I'm going to ask that there actually be a written decision stating that, Donahue.
What I can do is, since you've, and assuming Commissioner Ford's in agreement, since you've indicated why you think the charges are sustained, I could draft a decision reflecting that and then bring it back to you.
Okay. I think they should, I mean, the reasoning that I think they should be sustained is I think that the prior events in 2016 showed a pattern of activity at this place that indicated that more supervision was necessary, and that clearly didn't occur, which led to the events of 2017.
So if Commissioner Ford is of the same mind, I can draft a decision consistent with that, bring it back to you at another board meeting. You can then adopt it, or to the extent you want to, and then if you're going to go ahead and impose a penalty.
Do I get to speak at any point?
Yeah. Or do you want to speak at the penalty?
Well, I mean, I understand what you're doing. I realize you had a problem. But the 4 and 5 involve women who claim that they were who touched inappropriately.
Correct.
On the dance floor.
Correct.
The testimony
But then
indicated-
people got arrested for it.
Well, do you want to give, are you going to give Mr. Pluro a chance to controvert that decision?
Yeah, he can controvert the decision, yeah.
So you'll still, you'll get, once, it will go to before the members, they'll sign off on it, and then you'll have time to submit a controversy, and it'll come back again to, so this would be like a two-step process.
I felt this was a pattern also, and I wasn't in complete agreement with the ALJ's determinations as well, so I'm willing to go along with having a decision
All
issued.
due respect, neither one of you were there for the testimony.
Correct.
I was there for.
That's true.
Thank you.
Yep.
So this would be essentially over without date at this point. Suppose you want to know the next item. 789, J&Z Angel Liquor and Wine, Inc.
I don't need to keep this one, Secretary?
No.
I don't need to keep
You'll get,
Get a new one.
yeah.
Did I impose this condition? On the new one, on the new case that he just called?
This one, J&C?
Yeah. That the one place has to be closed? Can you,
No, the last time
you're
you-
objecting? Well, this is a recon, so we'll hear from you first, but just clarify for me, we imposed the condition that this store had to be closed? You had to show proof that it was closed?
It was the 5th nearest store. It wasn't one of the 4 nearest.
But
Yes,
that was
that's
what we
exactly
said?
happened. Yes, sir.
And it's not closed, is what you're saying?
No, it is not.
Do we know if it's going to close?
No, I mean, from the
Have they
photos-
filed their renewal yet?
I will look it up.
Because the renewal is up. Does your client know if they're open?
They're not open regularly.
That's what the information was last time. And we can't get them to respond to us, which is indicative of something.
Photos that we submitted were of that store, which show pretty empty shelves. I mean, it's not doing business.
A2Zs, thank you. Not written right.
All right, I'll vote to reconsider this.
I'm trying to remember this
They
place.
expire this month. I don't think I have anything.
Why don't we just get this moving?
All right, I'll vote to reconsider as well.
All right, let me hear from them.
You did hear from opposition a number of times already. You're more than welcome to.
I'm going to hear him briefly, yeah.
Yeah, no, we haven't got around to that one yet.
He came here, I'm going to hear from him briefly.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Also, just so you know, this was set aside a couple board meetings for a 200-foot measurement, which was provided, should have been provided.
And what happened?
We have it that it is, but.
Oh, you
Mr.
submit a lot of stuff showing that
That
that it's
wasn't,
not,
yeah.
it's not exclusively a church. I got that. Okay,
I
go
can provide
ahead.
a summary. Good afternoon, everyone. Arhelio Rodriguez here. I'm here with the two closest liquor stores, R&L South Bronx Liquor at 866 Prospect and A&D Family Liquor Store at 830 East 163rd Street. I'm here with the principals, Sherry Rong Chen and Chu De Wang. In way of background,
You don't need to give me background. I'm familiar with it.
then I'll get straight to the core. By the way, we have not even spoken a word on this case as opposition, contrary to what council has represented. This is the first time that I've had the opportunity to speak. This has been put off 2 times because of a...
No, you did get a chance because we granted the license on the condition that this store was closed, so we heard your full spiel.
Okay.
Before that vote happened.
Oh, okay.
Or you missed it, one or the other.
Exactly. I was retained afterwards. So regarding the 200-foot rule, this has been put over twice.
The 200-foot, he submitted enough information in my mind that this isn't exclusively a church.
And I'm here to dispute that based on evidence
And
that we've
I'm
received.
telling you what
today.
I've decided already, so I don't know where you are.
Actually, Chairman, we've received a letter from the church itself.
It doesn't matter. He's got, it's clear to me, based on what he submitted, that there is other activities going on in this church, including rentals.
And we have a letter refuting that from them, specifically refuting that point.
He's submitted documents from the city that indicate that, did you get those documents?
I did.
So you're telling me that those are false?
No, all that is, in order to get any kind of tax benefit for the whole building to be a church, that's a process you opt into. And that should not have any bearing on the 200-foot rule issue. My understanding is that the authority sends a letter to the church, and the church identifies the activities going on there. So, for example, they're told, they're asked what's going on in the second and third floor, and I have a letter from the church itself explaining that the first floor is a church and that the rest of it is pastoral residence, and that there's no renting and there's nothing else going on. Only her family resides in it, the pastor, Annette Pena.
Yes.
I'd like to provide that letter, which we just received this morning.
You can give me the letter, but... Okay, go ahead.
And so, as the letter explains, it's strictly a church on the first floor, and the pastoral residence above where the pastor and only her family reside in, and there's no renting. They go on a little bit about how they have a community outreach program for homeless, but the bottom line is that this has been deemed sufficient in plenty of 200-foot rule cases to disapprove the application on solely those grounds, and there's nothing to controvert it.
There is stuff to controvert it, stuff that he submitted.
Okay, let's be specific about what was submitted. My understanding is that it's, with the church, it's tax records, and those are, any kind of tax benefit for a church is something you opt into. So, all that can be said is that they did not opt into the tax benefit for being a church. But that doesn't take away from what the analysis of the 200-foot rule is, which is that the first floor is a church, and that's not disputed here. And the rest of it is pastoral residence. And so my understanding of all 200-foot law case law is that where the second and third floor are pastoral residences.
You said this already. What I'm telling you, you told me there was nothing to refute what you said. I'm telling you he submitted things that are refuting what you say. You're telling me that they don't mean anything.
No, I'm just saying that the letter provided by the church should be the governing document in this case.
Well, I don't, that we may
And it's been
disagree.
deemed enough,
Okay, is
including
there
other
anything else you want to?
cases. And so, this application was previously denied. And the reason it was denied was because the applicant made a misrepresentation of a fact. And
it actually was granted.
I'm saying that it was ultimately disapproved because they failed to comply with a condition that was requested by the full board. And there's a reason why the full board, conditions approvals on confirmation of certain facts. It's because the truthfulness of an application is very important. So here, they were not truthful about that, and even more importantly, they were not truthful about any disclosure regarding the 200-foot rule issue. They did not disclose any church on their application. They did not disclose any school.
Well, we are past that, because we already granted the application on a condition that has nothing to do with the 200-foot rule. So if you have something else you want to focus on it.
Sure. With respect to the locations of the two closest stores, they also misrepresented those. And there's actually two stores, one of which is 0.168 miles away, or 890 feet A and D. There's basically two stores within 2 blocks. So to approve this store would mean that around this specific train stop, on 163rd Street, there would be a total of 3 liquor stores within a radius of 2 blocks, which my understanding is that would clearly lead to saturation, and it's been denied in plenty of other cases. In terms of the gross sales of the other stores, the pattern is also warrants for disapproval. And then also in terms of the inventory, there's nothing that they offer that's particularly different than what the stores are being offered now. So I'd like an opportunity for the liquor stores to speak.
Sure. Just put their names in the record. You represent all 3 of them?
Yes.
Yeah, so they can put their names in the record, but you just spoke for them.
Hi, my name is Sherry Rong Chen, and I'm representing R&L South Bronx Liquor Store.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Lily Ling. I'm representing A&Z Family Liquor Store. I'm the manager.
Okay.
Chu Dai Wang, liquor store, UAB liquor store.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Getting to what I believe to be the crux of the issue.
Well, go tell me how you're refuting his letter from the church, for the record.
For the record, the pastor told investigator Vager that the ground floor is a church, the second floor is her home, and the third floor is vacant. The key to that is that it's currently vacant. It has been rented in the past to outside tenants who have nothing to do with the church.
And how do you know that?
I have a report. I'm going to hand this up. It shows the prior residents of the third floor. They're not family members. Oh, they're right here, I'm sorry. I have extras.
Where'd this come from again? Who lives at?
Okay.
Also, the C of O for this premises, as you know, is a multi-use dwelling. It is not listed as a church. There is no affiliation with a large denomination. There's no exemption, tax exemption as a church. And the third floor has been rented to other residents, not the pastor.
Are they paying taxes?
And they're paying taxes. It's not an exempt property, they're paying taxes.
Okay. So I'm confident, are you counsel that this is not a 200-foot law issue? Okay. All right, go on.
But getting back to the crux of the matter is that a while back when I filed my reconsideration, I submitted photos of the different liquor stores and how the shelves were bare. I also showed you a list of over 200 products that were not being currently offered in this market. Immediately afterwards, the opposition came up with the list of all the Hispanic and Latin alcohols that they do indeed serve. But they forgot what we said, and that is, we want to serve New York State product. They have not indicated that they sell a single New York State product. And we're committing 20%? So 20% of the total volume will be New York State spirits and wines. This is not currently available in the immediate neighborhood.
Is he bulletproof?
That's an interesting question, yes and no. It's bulletproof. But to the extent that we're going to do wine tastings twice a year, there is an area right outside the bulletproof glass where people will be able to taste. Bulletproof stores...
So twice a year he's not bulletproof?
Twice a week.
Twice a week, oh.
Twice a week. He's not bulletproof. but I can't, with a bulletproof store, you can't do tastings. We're lucky because we can.
How is that?
Because we have the square footage in front before the bulletproofing starts to set up our table and tastings. Twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays? Tuesdays and Fridays. Not currently offered. We want to be able to showcase New York State wines as well as, there were how many, about another 100 products?
Yeah,
of-
115.
Of Latin that weren't included. As well as the other 115 products that they're not currently selling. And we base that upon what they submitted to the authority as what they were selling.
Okay. What do you want to do with this?
I need to speak to council about something here.
All
So,
right. No, we'll be right back.
This is our last case to get.
No, it's not.
all right.
Yes.
Wait a second. All right, we're back on the record.
Okay. Thank you for letting me say a few more things. I wanted to also note that since now we're in the stage of discussing the more nitty-gritty about the situation, I did want to point out that the gross sales of the closest store are very telling. So R&L has gross sales, they had in 2013, they had $1,000,000.025. And then in 2014, that dropped to $743,000, and then in 2015 to $639,000, which is a dramatic change over the course of a few years.
And can you, what's that attributed to? Because to me, when you're looking at the other stores that have been there for years, their sales went up.
So
it could be because they're not well-stocked?
No, like I pointed out, you probably referring to, for example, ENR Fiesta Liquors, which is at 3221 3rd Avenue. That's a separate center of new condo developments, which this applicant is not close to. So in other words, if they're on this side...
The store you're using as the basis of your sale, he's also not close to. It's 0.5 miles away.
The one I'm using as my basis, R&L, is the closest one.
No.
It's within 2 blocks, is my understanding.
Well, based on, and it's not from them, the measurements my office has, it's a half a mile away. And that's based on how long it would take to walk, or the distance walking, Jackie?
Actually, the numbers I have are based on the lamp report. I have that the lamp report says 820 feet for R&L.
I think you're talking about A&Ds.
No, I'm talking about, well, okay. A&D is a different story. A&D was recently licensed. My understanding is
All right,
March
so
2017.
I got it. So the sales of one of the stores have gone down. That's correct. I do agree with that.
And then also the second closest, which is A&D, that was recently issued March 2017. The one that you've mentioned, which is ER Fiesta Liquors, that's much further away. I have it down as 1,690 feet from the applicant, and that's a new condo development area.
And A&D was not it was not a new licensee in 2017. That store's been there since 2013. It's just a new owner.
It's a new owner. It's a corporate change, is my understanding. I also did want to point out that based on the discussion we had on the 200-foot rule, I do believe that what was discussed earlier is incorrect.
It's not. What I didn't add was that we sent our investigator out, Investigator Pardo, who came up with the same information Mr. Palillo has, which is that, one, it's not registered as a church, two, that the third floor residence is an apartment and it's zoned for multi-use, And while it is within 192 feet of this location, there's no indication even on public records that this place is a church. So why would they, I'm not going to hold it against them that they didn't report it to us because it's not even being reported to the city.
Well, everything you've pointed out is something that they opt into. So getting the whole building classified by Department of Buildings as a church, that's something
Well,
that they opt into.
but they're not getting any tax break, they're not getting anything for it. They're not registered with anybody as a church, and then we also have the multiple residents here who clearly are not relatives or work for the church.
That's not the 200-foot rule analysis. The 200-foot rule analysis will require that the church itself, and just like it's done in most 200-foot rule cases by the authority, what do they have to say? And what they have to say is that it's a church.
You're absolutely wrong.
It's been done in
That we
every other
certainly
case
take
I've
that
had.
into account, but that is not the sole reason. If the church tells us that they're solely a church, we've been lied to by churches, believe me. That's why we send our investigator out. And I'm not going to impugn any particular religion, but we have been lied to directly by churches. We've gotten false letters from them because they don't, many cases, want a restaurant near them for whatever reason, even though they don't fit within the 200-foot law. So it is certainly something we listen to and take into account, and I took your letter into account, but all the other evidence that I have in front of me indicates that that third floor is not being used by the church.
If the third floor is vacant,
I
according
think we're done with the conversation. It's been rented out before, that's enough to me.
All right, then I
And
would just
I'm assuming it's enough for you.
say one more
You're the one who
sentence. Say one more sentence on that point for the record, which is that if it was rented out, if a floor was rented out a time before, that's not the proper inquiry. The proper inquiry should be, what is the status of it today?
It's vacant.
Exactly. So it should not disrupt its categorization as a church. It should not.
So I deny their license, and then he rents it out tomorrow, and it's all of a sudden not a church? Today it's a church, tomorrow it's not.
I'm just going by what the analysis of case law is.
Well, then you should,
I don't
you should
think that's the
submit the
analysis of
case
case
law.
law.
Yeah. Because I don't think you're going to find any that says that.
If I may, I'd also like them to speak about what they have for New York products.
Go ahead.
I do carry some whiskeys that's made from the Bronx, like the South Bronx, because a couple of people asked about it when I just took over the store. But right now, barely anybody asked it. I have it sitting there for a couple of months. So it doesn't really sell as nice. You would think it would, even though it's in the Bronx. It's in the Bronx area. And we do take a lot of customers, like, idea about, like, a lot of wines that they would like us to get. We always get the wines if, like, customers ask for it. So we do take customers event, like, the ideas about which wine they want or, like, which liquor they would like us to carry. So, and like a lot of the wines or liquors that they provided, nobody asked for it. That's why we never carried like couple of them.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else carry New York products? No, okay. I don't think we need to hear anymore. Are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
No.
No.
We're done.
I'm going to vote to approve. I think we've mitigated the whole church issue. And I'm going to vote to approve.
Yeah, and I blame myself for this because I'm sure I'm the one who did it, but why I based this approval on the closing of a 260 square foot liquor store, which was the furthest one away, is beyond me. And it's the only time that I'm aware that I've done something like that, so I don't anticipate I'll do it again. I think there is a public convenience and advantage here. The 200-foot law, in my judgment, does not apply, and council's judgment as well. The sales of two of the three closest are pretty strong. One is showing a decrease, but that, as you showed, there seems to be an issue with stocking of shelves. The applicant is going to do tastings twice a month? Twice a week, which I'm going to hold him to. And he's volunteered to do 20% New York wines or just products?
Product.
New York products, which I'm also going to put and hold them to. And I'll vote to approve.
Thank you.
And I don't, we are sending enforcement out to that other store, correct? Can we do that? Or call the guy in because he's not responding, so I anticipate he is going to close anyway.
Thank you.
But that is no longer a condition.
Not a condition.
Not a condition, no.
Next item, 867, Slick Bar Nightclub LLC.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Joseph Johnson, representing the applicant. This is Christina.
Christina Segura?
We're here to answer any questions that you have. She's applying for an on-premise license, and if you want to ask her anything from, we're here because the prior license had issues, and we have to deal with that, get a reconsideration. And so I just want you to meet with her, and if you have any questions, so we can go forward.
Yeah, they did have issues to the point that they were canceled. So there's no protest here, but what are you proposing to do differently than that was here before? I mean,
Your operation, what are you doing differently than the other place did? Because it looks very similar to the one we shut.
Well, I don't know what he really did in the establishment. What we're going to do different is operate it under more an upscale place, not have anybody under 21 come into establishment and serve liquor, food, and bring that into the community, so.
Do you have any experience?
I
with
do. I have
Liquor
about-
license?
I have 6 years in the bar industry,
Where?
so, in Jersey,
When?
about back in 2000, it was about 6 years ago, before I went into the military.
And you live in New Jersey?
I do.
So
I do work
you're
in West
driving
Point.
up all,
I do work in West Point. I'm looking to relocate as well, and that's why I found an establishment close to West Point area.
are you retiring from the military?
I am. I will be shortly. Yes.
And where she working is about 15 minutes from the bar location.
Oh, this used to be a Meals.
So you're going to have a manager?
Yes, I will be managing, and I will also have somebody helping me as well.
what hours are you thinking about?
4 to 4?
Just to let the members know, the last license, you put a condition on it closing at 1 PM.
1 a.m. you mean.
Sorry, 1 AM. Also,
The last
last
license we did,
license
but
that was-
they didn't abide by it?
clearly not. Just though, for history of the premise, why that license came to you is the prior licensee from, 2 back, was canceled by the board, and the one prior to that was revoked by the board.
Do you know any of these people that owned these places before?
No, I do not.
That was the history.
So this place has not
Back in-
had very good luck. And I wouldn't call it luck. It hasn't had very good operators. How did you end up in Newburgh from West Point?
From West Point, because I was in Jersey, I'm a recruiter, so I am in West Point now, so I do have some friends that live around the area, so I have been around the area, so it's always been a dream of mine to own my own bar, so that's how I got into it and into the area, because it is close to West Point. It's about like 15, 20 minutes away.
It is.
I think you'll see that.
Oh, this is,
Ringing any bells now?
yes.
Okay.
This is that van that all the workers from that, it rang bells because I ended up getting involved in this litigation of this
That one, yeah.
with the Attorney General's office.
I think you'll find that she doesn't know the previous people.
No, I believe her.
Her being in the military, I think she understands the laws and everything like that, and she's gonna, not jeopardize her future or anything like that. So I think she's a better candidate for this location.
So you are definitely relocating, because I'm going to tell you what happened previously. I don't know if you're aware of it. One of the former owners was busing all of his workers up from New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
And on the way back, after the bar closed, the van crashed and killed a significant number of them. So if that's the plan here, there's no way that's happening.
No, that's not the plan.
So you're planning on relocating and you're going to manage this place and the
Yes.
employees are going to be from the area?
They are, yes. We do have employers from the area, yes.
You plan on any security?
Yes, sir.
What?
We're going to have one, go ahead, Joe.
Well, I've suggested that she find a security company, not just a security guard. So she has a company with a good plan, a good layout of how everything goes, make sure everything goes smoothly. I suggested that because I also work for a security company who has a very good plan about how to proceed. So she's going to do that. She's going to get a company. She's going to submit to you the license number, the unique number, and this way you understand that she's prepared and she has not just one guy or a couple of guys. She's going to have a company who's going to be very responsible.
Why do we need all this music? You have DJ, jukebox, karaoke, live music with dancing.
But we're just going to have the DJ on the weekends, probably Thursday, Friday, Saturday. In the jukebox, we do have the jukebox already, so.
So we're
nobody-
not, so we don't need the karaoke or live?
No.
Where do you plan on having the DJ and the dancing? Are you going to take the tables out to do so?
No, towards the back of the floor?
Well, there's a stage back there,
There is a
Jackie.
stage back there?
Yeah.
Yes.
And you want for,
That was one of the problems in prior, was that it was not enough tables and chairs to indicate, you've got 4 tables and 8 chairs.
what does she have now?
Well, that's what this application has.
Do we need more? She's only got 2 tables. Is that right?
Well, what's typed in was 4 and 8, 4 tables with 8 chairs.
I got
7
2
seats at the
tables
bar.
with,
Is that all you
I
see
got
there?
2 tables with 8 chairs here.
I think since they've been waiting, they have added more. I can submit a different diagram and pictures to show that there's more.
Okay.
And kitchen to be open all times the establishment is open?
Yes.
Of course. Do you have any other questions, Chairman? Since there's no protest, I kind of have concerns about the history of this place, but I can't hold that against you. So I'm going to prove, on the fact you can have a DJ Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Okay.
And a jukebox, no live bands, no dancing, no karaoke, nothing like that. Over 21 crowd, 4 to 4, 7 nights a week?
4 to 4, Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Yeah, what about?
Maybe Sunday,
I mean,
depending on the
because, and
holidays.
I'm just going to make this
Close on
quicker.
Mondays?
Because of the history of this place, I'm not willing to give you 4. I will give you 3 on Friday and Saturday. That means closed at 3, everybody out.
Okay.
And 1 on during the week?
Yeah, 1 during the week is fine.
Sunday to Thursday, close at 1?
Yes. Go ahead, what else did you have?
No, that covers it.
And then, you don't plan on using promoters, do you?
No, I just have social media, Facebook, Instagram,
So
and my
no-
website as well.
No use of promoters.
Okay.
And we do check on social medias. And if we get that, because of the history of this place, it won't take much for us to be in there.
Okay. Understood.
So you're better off just doing your own social media.
So we have Thursday, outside the hours, we have Thursday through Saturday DJs and jukebox, no dancing, no promoters? Did I miss something?
No live.
No live, thank you.
And you said 3 o'clock on Fridays and Saturdays? Open.
Yes. Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next item is 824, Made in PR Latin Cuisine Sports Bar Corp.
I remember when that happened. That was awful.
Good afternoon, members of the authority, Chairman Bradley, Commissioner Ford, Ms. Held, Mr. Donahue, Council Rihanna.
So what, good morning, or good afternoon, what, is this a recon? What is this?
You asked me for, the reconsideration was granted because we disapproved based on failure to comply, failure to meet deficiencies or something along those lines. Those are reconsiderations that if they bring in everything they need, then we move, we'll
Okay.
reactivate.
Oh, so you granted the reconsideration,
Well,
okay.
It's a prior disapproval.
That she
and a
just
new
turned over,
and a
okay.
new application, and
I'm just talking about this application.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm
I mean,
here.
what's changed? We've denied this.
No, what
Oh,
hap-
that she was only denied on that reason? There wasn't another prior application before
yes,
that?
that's what, there was a prior disapproval.
That we denied here, or you guys did
You
for
have
the
that
same
already
reason?
here. No,
Why was the first one denied?
that
Inconsistencies.
is
Inconsistencies, establishment
police
name.
referrals, disorderly proms, operating on the temporary permit with issues. It was inconsistencies in the application.
What happened was this application was filed by another filer, so I just decided to chuck the entire application because it was just a mess. This is a bar restaurant, bar primarily, restaurant secondarily. And it was just a mess. I didn't want to deal with reconsideration of the other, it was just a mess. So we came in with a new application, and it had a temporary. The temporary was denied, the temporary was canceled because they had an issue. One girl stole from another one, and then in the bathroom, they started arguing. She told security to send out one of the girls, and waited 10 minutes. The other girl came out, and then they met on a corner. The other one was waiting for her on a corner. They started fighting, but since the theft ensued on the premises, the permit was canceled. So,
And she wasn't operating under her own trade name. She just put the old club's name up there.
she was operating under her own, she didn't have her trade name up yet. The authority naturally gives us time to remove the sign and put a new one. She wasn't
I don't know what we
operating
do,
under
do
Club
we?
Miami. She's not even
No,
affiliated.
when you're supposed to be ready to open, you're supposed to be ready to open as to what you told us you are.
When you give us a temporary permit, you give us time on our permanent application to give you ready-to-open pictures with a new sign.
But you shouldn't be open before that.
But that's why you give us a temporary permit, Chairman Bradley.
No, you're supposed to, when you get that temporary, you're supposed to be ready to open as to what you're going to be, correct?
99% of the time.
No,
you
that
give
means
us
everyone,
time.
you're telling your clients the wrong thing.
No. You give us time to change the sign.
No, we
The
don't.
The guy that, okay, we had an issue with the sign as well.
Okay. We hired someone to actually change the sign, and he actually, we submitted a letter that he gave you guys. He had a death in his family. I could not find this guy at all, okay? Then finally, when I received the deficiency, I kept calling, trying to track him down. He said he would. When I got the deficiency, I said, listen, you have to come, and you have to put up the sign, at least one little banner.
But do you see, this is what I don't get when you come in here. I believe everything you're saying. Do you know what the solution is? You shut down until the sign is down. We don't give licenses to the previously named club or whatever it was called. When you say to us you're ready to open even with a temp, it means you have your name on it, it means you have your workers inside, and that you open with everything that you told us you were going to be. That's with a temp, that's with the permanent, it doesn't matter. So I don't care that he didn't come. That's irrelevant.
We ended up putting up a banner, but that was after the fact.
Now, is it also true that you were doing parties with promoters on Eventbrite with RSVP and guest lists?
They're not operating under Club Miami. That was never their, that's not them.
No,
Kept going
this was under PR Latin Cuisine and Sports Bar Corp. On Facebook, advertising theme parties, all white parties, tropical Saturdays, Elevate Her. You didn't do any of that.
There's no affiliation to Club Miami.
This was not Club Miami.
No, but I mean, that was the whole operator. We didn't use promoters, that was not us. Remember, there's another made in Puerto Rico on East Tremont, Chairman Bradley. So I think the whole thing has been confused here.
I don't think there's any confusion.
Yeah, it does say Made in PR, Latin Cuisine Sports Bar. Let's see, we did get the disposition.
So you're going to have rotating DJs.
We have, I wanted to just go over the method of operation. They actually changed the security guard company as well since that incident with the two girls, because she found that, they didn't respond the way, not even 10 minutes. She wanted, once, even two people yelling should be removed immediately. There will be no promoters. She's not going to have a manager because she's going to be on site during all hours of operation. There is no dancing. It's an industrial, non-residential area. It's not really a residential area. They're doing new condos there, but we don't anticipate those to be finished for another 4 or 5 years. They're asking for Sunday through Wednesday, 4 p.m. to 2 a.m., only Thursday, Friday, Saturday till 4 a.m. All employees will be ATAP certified, and it's limited to a 21 and over crowd. And they have the wand and the scanner for IDs. This operator has no history with the SLA.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
We took her temp away. That's not history?
I've been sitting in these rooms on several occasions, and I've seen that temporaries have been taken away for lapses in whether it was supervision. She has corrected that, Chairman Bradley. The sign has been corrected, and it is a permanent sign on the exterior of the location, which I've submitted to the members of the authority as well.
This is going back to the reconsideration that was granted on 1/12/18.
That was just on deficiency.
Okay.
All right. What are the hours here?
Sunday through Wednesday, 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. And
Thursdays close at 2 a.m. and Friday, Saturday to 4 a.m.
No. Whenever you're ready.
No dancing, correct?
Correct.
No plans for sidewalk cafe, nothing like that?
It's an industrial area.
All right. I will vote to approve. With the hours, what were your hours that you said, Chairman?
I haven't.
You haven't yet, okay. I'll just vote to approve at this point, see what hours.
All right, I'll vote to approve. There's no use of promoters, there's no private events, there's no cover charges, even for DJs. 1 a.m. during the week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 2 a.m. No live music. And what'd you say, security guard? You're going to have 2 security guards on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They're supposed to be licensed. And if they're not licensed, you've already, that temp getting yanked from you is strike 1 and 2. So if we get anything, you're done. Because I don't think this has any hope of surviving. But
Chairman, can you repeat the other hours, please?
1
a.m. and 2 a.m.?
Yes, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 2 a.m.
Got it.
Commissioner Ford, you good with those conditions?
Yes, yes, sir. Yeah.
One quick question. So the method of operation is approved as is, has been submitted.
No live music. She clearly was using Eventbrite. She's not to be that for private events. There's no private events, no cover charges, even for rotating DJs.
So we can have our DJ and karaoke?
Yes.
Thank you, Chairman Bradley.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next item, 885, Greenwich Village Entertainment Group, LLC. 885, Mr. Palillo. Well, you don't know yet.
We asked this matter be returned to council. We never got a notice of hearing, neither my office nor the client.
Well, your client did get it.
No.
It says it was delivered to an individual at the premises on
Notice of
9.
pleading. Notice of pleading.
Oh, what didn't you get?
Notice of hearing. This was set down for a hearing. I never received it, the client never received it.
No, this was
This is just no contest default. I got.
I thought it was defaulted hearing. I have my answer.
I have defaults.
Oh, I
can
have my
check
answer.
again, but
You have your answer today, or you have it?
No, I put my answer in when the thing came up.
I have no contest default.
All right, send it back then. If he,
counsel?
I don't think he'd make that up.
No, I thought this was at hearing the default.
That says defaulted pleading, yeah.
Pleading. Okay. If you want, Chris, I can forward it to you, because I definitely have it.
No, it's,
Thank you. Have a good 2 weeks.
He had, this is one of his not better days to go on, so I figured we'd throw him a bone.
oh, no, it's fine. Yeah, no, yeah. Frank, try the case, it's fine.
872, Friends
What
of
happens when you hit 500 the last time you were in here?
872, Friends of Division 21, Rockaway Breezy Point, Inc.
They didn't, oh, here we go, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get,
Good afternoon.
did you get the letter to have your client appear with you?
No, I just wanted to clarify things. I was signing in, I represent the landlord who's
Oh.
not there. I just wanted to make sure that one of the possible,
Could you state your name for the record?
William Tejan, T-I-E-T-J-E-N, Corporation Counsel for Breezy Point Cooperative, the landlord in this matter. We were not, the landlord's not cited here, but just one of the possible fines would be replication of the.
Well, we're not really even at that stage yet. They made an offer for us to accept for the charges, which I was not prepared to accept without talking to the owner of the establishment because of what's clearly going on here. It's a club that he's operating as a bar, and I wanted to make sure it stopped. He didn't show up, so I don't even know where that leaves me.
This is held over for him to appear.
Is there an adjourn date then?
You want me to send one more notice to
We'll
the-
send one more notice, and you'll get that. You got this notice, obviously, so you'll get that, and that'll have the date on it, right? He must, does he get it as well?
No, he wouldn't, so it would be
How
5.
did you end up here, then?
We got the original notice, because as a landlord, we were given a copy of the notice.
Yeah, but it was on 4/18/2018, the first time, and we just adjourned it to this week for them to appear. You weren't here last time.
No, I've been in touch with Ms. Wells, and she would just notify me as to what date.
Okay, so-
She wouldn't give me any other.
Oh, okay,
It'll
so
be on May 16th.
May 16th.
for the owner to appear.
Thank you very much.
And you want the licensing person, not just the attorney?
Correct.
Right, that's what we requested. All right. Next item is 891, Cajun NY LLC.
Sapitos on 106.
Oh,
Sapitos.
Is that us?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. The licensee wanted me to know for the record, that's an area of heavy gang activity. A lot of the incidents that happened, they had no incidents prior to January. Prior to, I don't know what's happened, it's 2 buildings.
I'll accept the offer,
Just so you
cancel
know.
and bond.
I would just ask the location and name stops.
Location and name stop.
What does that
And-
mean?
And,
It comes before the board.
We'll come before the board all the time.
and that,
No, he doesn't want to be there anymore.
No, I know he doesn't, but if you're going to bring somebody else in and that looks anything like that method of operation, don't even bother.
No, it's the second, it's bad, that area's bad. Thank you.
Yeah.
Next item is 810, 151 Nago Restaurant Corp.
Good afternoon, Argelio Rodriguez for 151 Nago Restaurant Corp., DBA Harmony. I'm here with Principal Jeffrey Ledesma.
So this is a default at hearing.
I'm asking that this matter get returned to counsel's office.
On what grounds?
So pretty much, the licensee appeared at the first two hearing dates. He was not made aware of the third hearing date, and so he did not appear on that date. His representative did not tell him about the date.
His representative didn't tell him?
Right.
Well, how is that on us?
Immediately, look, the licensee immediately retained new counsel once he learned that there was.
Well, the information I have is that he failed to appear, as you said, but that his representative was called and that he or she stated over the phone that she no longer represents the licensee.
Yes, what happened is, good afternoon. What happened is I changed the lawyer, that's why.
What?
I changed it.
You changed lawyers and then?
They didn't even know, they didn't notify her that she had to show up that day.
They didn't notify who?
My lawyer at that time. That's when I went twice. The third time, I never received any notice.
Yeah, but you had a lawyer and she received it.
She never told me that.
But I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to send this back.
Chairman, if I may, everyone here knows that this is a serious case with serious potential consequences.
There's no question.
And so I would beg of the full board to return this to counsel's office because.
Well, I'm assuming, what happened to your first lawyer? Did you fire her? Did you not pay her?
She never. I went to her office. She never did. She never showed up for nothing. It was a mess.
Well, no, I'm not gonna. I mean, there's no way. I had cancel and bond. I won't cancel them. But sustain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You were open 7 months. Not even 7 months. I'm sorry, 4 months, and some of this stuff happened. So this is your last chance. $25,000.
If the full board is headed in this direction, I would like to ask for a suspension, a 30-day suspension.
No.
Together with a fine of, say, $15,000.
Nope, no suspensions.
I mean, a fine
And
of
he gets, and
him out of business.
if he has a broken window, he's going to be out of business anyway. He should have been out of business now. I threw him a bone.
I mean,
because his lawyer quit on him.
I mean, I just view that
She
as-
was notified. It's clear to me she was notified. The letter was sent there. She was called the day of the hearing. No one notified us that she wasn't representing you anymore.
He's explaining to the full board that he personally did not receive notice.
Yeah, but when he knew she wasn't representing him anymore, he should have called us and told us that, and he didn't.
He immediately retained counsel. I mean, I feel like that says a lot, that he...
Well, the first we're hearing from you is now, right?
No, I
Just,
mean, this
Chairman, there
this
was
matter
an attorney representing him.
Who was it?
I forget. Then that counsel was, I guess, dismissed. Then he had a representative who just left the room.
There you go. I mean, I don't know where you are, but
I'm just hoping that the licensee should not have to suffer the
he
consequences.
should,
This is
because
a very
he's not.
serious
It's
case.
not my job to be responsible for him to make sure his stuff is in order, and it's not in order, as evidenced by this, as well as his dealings with his attorneys.
Yeah, I had written down to cancel, you know. I'd be willing to go with 20,000 if the chairman
All right,
was.
20.
Would the board be open to a suspension and a reduction?
No
of that fine?
suspensions, no.
20,000.
And this is all, as you pointed out, extremely serious, so it's not going to take much for us to cancel them the next time. Do we have anything pending?
I was just going to mention, I don't have anything pending, so that's.
All right. Nagel Avenue is clearly a problem.
Next item is 823, El Tahar Bar and Restaurant Corp.
Thank God for a minor case for once. This is Argelio Rodriguez for El Tahor Bar and Restaurant Corp. This is a CNC for $500.
I'll accept.
I'll accept too.
Next item is 845 Trenta LLC.
Good afternoon, Chairman Bradley.
We're going to do all three of these at once, or?
Yeah, I was gonna.
Yeah,
ask
it's
how you-
probably.
What are the other
It's
two?
813
It's 8:13,
and then 822.
8:45.
Yes.
8:13 and 8,
I'm sorry, yeah, it's 813, 822 is, somebody else signed in for, it's 813, 845, and 822.
Yes.
So this is total 25,000 for 3 cases for improper conduct on all of them. Okay,
Just to note,
split 3 ways.
Yeah, my understanding is that this is the result of lengthy negotiations between, I believe, yourself and Alexandra. Is that correct, Alex?
Correct.
Yes.
All right, I'll accept all 3.
Are you good with me renewing on 8/13?
Yep.
Okay.
So you guys, this is all partner problems?
There's,
Are they fixing those, or?
so they're sort of already fixed. There are these 3 restaurants that Miguel is licensed on. This charge relates to a 4th location that's in litigation that makes my head spin. It's being resolved. There's no license in effect for the space. Until it's resolved, no application is being filed. So because he's on 3 licenses, he was charged 3 times.
Okay. You good?
yes.
Okay.
So it's 8:33, whatever, for each one?
On all 3, yeah.
Okay, all right, good.
Thank
So-
you.
So just quickly as an aside, one of the licenses was renewed under SAPA.
Yeah.
We're gonna, she's gonna put the renewals through. Paul, I think the other one's coming up too, right?
It's not an issue.
They'll all go through.
That'll be fine.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, the next item I have is 793 Avant Gardner LLC.
Really?
Alex Victor again for Avant Gardner. I'm here with Jürgen Bildstein, one of the owners, Mike Swain, who's the Director of Security, and Craig Jacobson is also here. As you probably recall, about a year and almost exactly a month ago, this license was approved until 4 a.m. on the condition that the premises be vacated by 4:30 a.m. We had a lot of back and forth about that condition, and at the time, we felt our presentation and our materials went into great depth with the proposed security, the operation, such that we did not anticipate a concern about the venue operating without alcohol. But after that final hearing, and after reviewing the hearings, what we recognized and appreciated was the concern about this licensee's ability to operate this venue on a permanent basis due to the size of the venue, the need for the licensee to prove its ability and redeem itself. So we're here before you now because we believe that they have done that. This licensee has followed through with all of the representations and promises it made to you, it made to the community, and made to several elected officials prior to the approval. So what we're asking for today.
See, that's not how I remembered. I clearly had concerns about their operation, and I clearly had concerns about letting them operate till 4, which they obviously got. And obviously, they have been able to operate till 4, but I don't know that I ever considered allowing post 4:30. I mean, that was, in my mind, I haven't done that since I've been here, to anyone, even somebody who doesn't have the history that he had.
I don't know that that's something that's been discussed at length on other applications.
I don't either, but I know I haven't done it.
So I know, when we were here and discussing the hours, there was a hard 4:30 closing time. We also.
Which is what the law says.
The law says that consumption has to stop after 4:30.
Yeah, but so what's your plan here? Security's going to go around and start taking up glasses that are full at 4:30?
If that's what it takes, yes.
That's what the plan is.
Yes. The plan is to make sure that there's no more consumption after 4:30. They're already doing that. They're already making sure.
Yeah,
that
because
everybody-
people are leaving. You're talking about a situation where you're gonna allow people to still come in.
And take their drinks.
The idea is for people to be able to stay after 4:30.
I mean, I'm just not,
So
I get what you're trying to do, I'm not comfortable with it, and I don't think I would even allow it.
I understand, listen, forgive me, I don't mean to say, listen, we understand the concern. What I'd like to say is this whole concept, this original plan, this operation, was something that was originally proposed over a year ago and discussed at length. The reason that the license came to the full board did not have to do with the idea of people staying after 4:30 for the indoor space. It was because of the community boards having a policy to cafes, rear yards, and outdoor.
But it also came here because he was doing parties that we were having issues with. What, am I wrong here, Jackie? Wasn't he getting permits
He was
and
not.
doing one-shot parties, raves and things outside in different places?
Yep.
Right?
I believe so, yeah.
That's how he ended up here.
I don't
And
know.
that's why the community board was objecting to it.
That's
No,
why-
I mean, that's past history. He's obviously running, he's running very clean for the year, but like I said, I'm just not comfortable opening something all night.
I understand, but what I'm asking for is the consideration that all of the support and approval that we got a year and a half ago or a year and 3 months ago was all based on this operation as we're presenting it today.
But we're talking, what are we talking about, 4 hours here?
We're not, we don't.
You say after 4:30, what time are you talking to? Not, and nothing.
No, I don't think they're going to close. Is that what we're talking about?
Nothing here,
The
I read.
plan and the intent is not to stay open 24 hours. There are certain events where being open after 4:30, even though people aren't drinking, is.
Like what?
What kind of event?
Like what event?
Need to be open at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Chairman, Commissioner, it is really about being competitive in the market, and you're right.
I want to know what event is so important that it has to go past 4:30.
If it's at all any events, it's Friday night or Saturday night. It's like, music night, nightlife events. We do every type of event, but Friday, Saturdays, they focus.
So like an electronic dance music performer at 5 o'clock in the morning.
And it's also not about.
See, that's not, I'm not interested.
Also, it's not about after-hour plays, 24-hour plays. We also okay.
What do you guys get for a bottle of water there? If you don't mind me asking.
We have water fountains all over the place.
No, what are you getting for a bottle of water, though?
It's like $4 or $5.
That's what I figured.
But it's also, really, to hear me out, it's.
I read everything you submitted, and I'm, like I said previously, I was not ever comfortable with you opening past 4:30. I wasn't comfortable with you opening till 4, which we gave it, and I obviously was wrong. But I'm not comfortable with anybody past 4:30. I really am not. It has nothing to do with you or your business.
Yep.
And I have not done that since I've been here, and I'm not going to do it today. I mean, I understand what you want to do. I understand that you want to continue the party to go on. I get all of that. I mean, there's just nothing that would be, in my mind, sufficient to do that. And I'm not confident that it can be done to my level of safety. I mean, the law says 4. That's what we're doing.
Just to my point, if you let me finish my point,
Yeah.
that would be nice. It's about being competitive in the market. There's like several nightclubs, and we're not a nightclub, right? But on Friday and Saturdays, we have a very similar programming. On Friday and Saturdays, there's several, maybe 6, 7 of these establishments in the areas. They might be a little smaller. Some of them are 2,000 plus, some of them are 1,000 plus. They don't have these restrictions. And if you see it as a customer, out of a customer perspective, and it's all about the size of the venue. You spend a certain amount on a ticket and on drinks. If you don't get a similar experience, you won't choose to come to us, and it really hurts our business. It's really about being competitive.
There's other places in the area. Go ahead. That's all right.
Just to add, it's we're totally willing to also say nobody can come in at a certain time. We don't want to be an after-hour establishment. To be open in our size costs us a lot of money. It doesn't make sense if people, if you don't have a crowd there, it doesn't make sense. But it's really about entertainment. It's just normal these days that a headliner plays around 4 to 6, and other establishments.
See, but that may be normal, but it's not normal in the licenses I've handed out, because I have not done this in 3 years. I have not allowed someone to stay open all night, and I don't care that you want to have concerts in the middle of the night. It doesn't matter to me.
We just don't see any other establishments with the same restriction.
We wanted,
Who else is having concerts till 6 o'clock in the morning?
So.
You said to be competitive, who else is having concerts 5 or 6 o'clock in the
And we're
morning?
in a city of 8 million people. You're telling me that everybody that's interested in listening to music at 6 in the morning is running to these 3 other places and they're emptying your place out? I find that hard to believe.
Two things. It's like one is out of the customer's perspective, one is the.
Well,
So is it the
they made it 4 o'clock for a reason, and I'm not going to, the other option is not to serve any liquor ever, and then you can be open 24 hours.
So there's a few things that he touched upon that I was going to say, but say differently, because after reviewing all of the hearings that we went through last year, I didn't gather that your opposition to us staying open or them staying open after 4:30 a.m. was based on competition. We talked about 8 or 10 venues.
The last thing I'm concerned about is whether he can make it.
Understood. So we're not trying to argue this based on the pure economics of this venue, or of how staying open another hour may help them, may help the community, may help employees, it may help several other peoples, but that may not be your chief concern. What we are just alluding to by referencing these 8 or 10 other places that do stay open, they may not have come before you. But
I don't even know that they're staying open legally, because I did not license them. That I can tell you.
If they do not have an application that comes before the full board, and they have a license that says 4 a.m., or I don't think the licenses even say 4 a.m. once they have no restriction. If the license does not have a printed restriction, they have to comply with the law of stopping alcohol sales at 4, stopping consumption
Correct.
at 4:30.
Correct.
They do advertise events going until 5 or 6.
And that may be true, but your client earned coming to the board.
So I was not aware that had the community board approved this operation, and I think
I wouldn't have approved that.
I don't.
He was coming anyway because of the private parties he was having.
Understood. So everybody has a past. He had private parties. We discussed those at length before this license was approved.
But you're going down a road, you're acting like this isn't about him. I'm not doing this for anybody. Anybody that comes in here, he clearly is operating this place as he should. I don't have an issue with that. That's not what this is about. I'm not doing this for anyone.
If an application doesn't come before you, and they have an unrestricted license, they could.
I can't change that because I can't take every license here. But he ended up here, and as a result, you're required to ask me for it, and I'm not giving it.
When we came to you the first time and we had this conversation, we went back and forth several times about how he had to prove himself. You wanted us
about the hours. We're going down a road that you're knocking your head against a wall here because it's not changing. I'm not comfortable doing this, and I'm not going to do it.
What I'd also like you to consider, aside from Ms. DeVilla's letter, the Assemblywoman who wrote
I read that.
We received another letter on Monday from the Borough President that's also specifically in support of this request. I would like to hand that out.
You're certainly welcome to.
It's the concern that we understood was them being themselves. You talk about these pop-up, these permitted events, they were permitted.
Can't at the time. I know you're permanent, but I'm not comfortable doing it. I'm not. So it's not going to happen with me. I don't know where you are.
Well,
it helps
I mean, you want the party to go on, till 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's just not, I am not, and you visited out there, didn't you?
I think that we...
No, we're at an impasse, let's put it that way.
Everything that you've given us, everything that you've submitted has been very crafted, has been written, I can't say the word today, I'm tired, to not get to a specific time, just saying after 4:30 a.m., which I think is the time that we said before you had to have everyone get out, so that's probably why you're at 4:30. But there's been nothing to say like when you are going to close the doors and when everyone is going to be get out. So it's like everything I've seen.
They're not going to.
You're not going to, yeah, so.
They can't serve liquor, but they're not going to close the
The
door.
way that we framed this request is to ideally have the flexibility that other venues have that don't come before the full board.
I don't know if any
Full board because of
venue that could come before this board that has alcohol, that we would say after 4 o'clock, you can stop serving alcohol and just still stay open indefinitely.
Pretty much every diner in the state, that's about it.
Is it?
Yeah, because
At
they
4
do
o'clock?
have liquor licenses.
Well, they're not a diner, so.
I will say that when we were at this sort of impasse before the license was first approved, we knocked down the full flexibility and we're discussing the hours of 5 and 6. I believe you, Commissioner Ford, said you would have agreed to 5.
Yeah, and you know, I did, and I actually at this point, I'm still willing to give you a cutoff point to 5. I mean, you guys.
I'm not, so it doesn't matter.
All right.
Begging to
You
come back
can't.
after 6 months.
No,
You-
as I told you, this isn't about him. It's not about the space. I'm not doing this for anybody. I know what goes on. I have an absolute certainty what goes on. I've been there. So I'm not going to be part of this. And I'm certainly, he got his 4:30. The law says 4:30. I'm not comfortable after that. So I mean, I don't know where you want to go with this, because you're not changing my mind. At some point, I won't be here. And at that point, you certainly can apply. But otherwise, you'll be wasting your time.
Would it be helpful for you to hear from Mike
No.
Swain, the Director of Security, who spoke with the 90th Precinct, who are also okay with this
No.
request?
It's not going to, at some point, these places are supposed to close, and this one's going to close when the law says it should.
The law does not say that it needs to close at 4:30.
I'm saying it then.
That we understand. All we're trying to point out is just by virtue of
I'm not comfortable with it. You're not going to make me comfortable with it. And it's not because I don't trust their security. It's not because of any of that. It's because I'm not comfortable with keeping bars open all night, even if the alcohol stops.
But then that's a bigger issue because there are
Well,
bars.
the one thing you can do is go get legislation and carve out the entire thing. If these legislators are so interested in it, I'm sure they'll help you. And they'll let you stay open.
It's not a law change that we're seeking. The law-
No, it's just a law that would apply to that place.
No, but the law doesn't say you have to vacate the space.
But it does say that you have to abide by what I say, and and a legislator can change that. So I'm just not comfortable doing this. And I don't know, he's willing to give you an extra half hour, that makes no difference to me.
If it makes no difference.
No, I'm not, I'm going to stay where we are, because then we don't have to monitor it. I don't have to worry about it if it's at 4:30, which is when it should be. So I'm voting to disapprove.
Commissioner Ford, are you going to vote to disapprove or approve at 5 o'clock?
I think if you have that many people in there, that getting everybody out by 4:30 or 5, I don't think it makes that much of a difference. But if it's 4:30, then the chairman's not budging, so it's 4:30 then. That's what I'm saying. I will go along with that.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
All right?
I don't have any other
Is
items.
that a final determination?
Yeah, I mean, you can ask for recon, you're not going to get it, but you can ask for it. I mean, if you want it to be final, be final. If you want to appeal, is that what you're talking about? Yeah, you can be final. You can ask for recon right now, and I'll deny it.
Maybe.
Denied. You file your,
I didn't even ask.
file your Article 78. Right? You're not going to argue that this isn't,
Oh, I win in court, so.
no, I mean, you don't need to argue that that he hasn't fulfilled the administrative.
No, I mean, it's waivable.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
I don't have any other items signed in, so we'll. Next item, or items, 791 and 800. It's one item.
Yeah.
Except,
I had revoking prescription, I mean.
we can't, though. They're only offering cancellation of bond. You want to
They're
counter?
expired too.
Oh, expired, okay. All right, cancel and bond.
792, and just so you know, the penalty on number 3 has not yet been paid.
I'll accept. Is that gonna be is that gonna be
It's a default.
Default.
oh, I'm sorry, 2,500, is that gonna be a cancellation when they don't pay?
You're imposing 2,500?
No, I'm saying the one that they didn't pay, what's gonna be?
No, that would be a bond claim and a suspension.
All right, then cancel and bond on this.
How about just cancel, because we'll take the bond on the other charge.
Okay.
Unless they pay.
And then we'll hear from them and we'll.
Yeah, and then that will be resolved. 795.
Should there be,
6,000, yep.
796.
5,000.
5,000,
797.
Accept.
5,500, accept.
798.
Accept. Withdraw charge 2, accept.
Accept.
799.
Accept. 10K plus the surrender.
It's already surrendered. Was surrendered
Okay.
early in the month.
Already been, yeah, 10,000.
801.
Accept.
2,000, accept.
802.
Accept.
2,000, accept.
803.
Cancel bond.
Yes, cancel and bond. They do? Under what that I'm being to? I have no jurisdiction.
804, 805.
Accept.
5,500, accept.
807.
Counter 9,000.
Yep. 9,000 counter.
808.
10,000. I would have canceled, but because of the owner's letter, I won't.
Nina's history, okay.
809.
Dismiss 1, dismiss 2, sustain 3.
They applied for security but was left pending. I had so dismiss all.
You want to dismiss all?
Yeah, they had a,
All right, dismiss 3, 2. 1, 2, and 3, dismiss.
Okay. 811.
Cancel for the record, sustain 1 and 2.
cancel for the record.
812.
Sustain 1, 2,500.
2,500,
814.
Accept.
2,500, accept.
815.
Accept.
Accept.
816, 17, 18.
Withdraw in the second proceeding 4, 5, and 6. I'll accept the 12,000.
12,000, accept.
819.
Accept.
Accept.
821.
Accept.
Accept.
826 is held over to the 16th. 831.
Accept.
It doesn't say what the health regulation, what the violation was. But accept.
It's probably Department of Health. Might be.
Let's go accept. I got to catch a train.
832.
Default.
3,000.
3,000.
833.
10,000.
10.
834.
Accept.
2,000, accept.
835.
Accept.
Accept.
836, 830, and 887.
Withdraw charge 4 in the second proceeding, accept.
Accept.
838.
Sustain 1, 2, and 3, dismiss 4.
Nothing for 3 years, so.
Go ahead, whatever you want.
3,000.
I actually talked to I'm going to go higher than that, 5,000. I talked to the police department. They are not having continued problems with this.
Okay.
I didn't, Joe did. So 5,000.
Then I'll issue the renewal.
Yes.
839 was held over to the 16th. 840.
3,000, accept.
840 is,
Accept.
840 is,
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Hearing.
3,000.
841.
Cancel and bond, accept.
842.
Accept.
Accept.
843.
I'm going to dismiss charge 4. Actually, I'm not dismissing 4 because I'm countering at 12,000.
For all
So leave
five.
4 on there. I'll dismiss 4 if they accept the
You
12.
have further charges coming on this.
Yeah, I heard that. That's why I did this.
So you want that part of the counteroffer is
Yeah.
12,000 and dismissal?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. 846 held over to the 16th. 847.
Accept.
Accept.
848 and 879.
Accept.
Accept.
849.
6,000.
Yep, 6,000.
850.
Accept. Oh, I'm sorry, 850.
It's surrendered already.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond. Yep.
851.
Accept.
8,500 accept.
852.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
853.
Accept.
2,000 accept.
855.
Accept.
1,200 accept.
856.
Accept.
Accept.
857.
Counter. Cancel and bond.
857.
And add, and can you have them add failure to conform to application? Because the evidence, at least the memo would indicate that they can do that, that's supported.
You want to have them amend the pleading?
Yeah, because it's a strip, they were doing stripping and it's
Well-
not a strip club. Isn't that application?
It could be.
So I'm
May-
looking,
may-
if they don't, but just
Maybe,
look at
maybe the
it.
prosecutor can just look at it and issue
Yeah, they
a
make the
pleading.
decision, I'm just asking them to look at it.
Real
So
quick,
that's a counter of cancel and bond.
All right. 858.
Accept,
2,500 accept.
859.
cancel and bond,
Cancel and bond, yep.
860.
accept,
500 accept.
861.
accept,
Accept.
862.
accept,
6,000 accept.
863.
accept 15 days deferred suspension and bond forfeiture.
Accept.
865.
Accept,
865 accept.
866.
I'll accept, but it's the last hurrah for this place.
15,000 accept.
869 is held over to the 16th. 873.
Cancel and bond for the record, or cancel for the record, I mean.
Cancel for the record, yep. Can't.
870.
873 has a cancel and bond claim, right?
Yes, it's an offer.
Yeah.
But it's already surrendered, right? All right, cancel and bond, okay, go.
Okay. 874.
Accept,
Accept.
875 and 76 are held over to the 30th. 877.
accept,
1,500 accept.
878.
accept,
6,500 accept.
880.
accept,
500 accept.
881.
6,500, sustain 1 and 2.
6,500.
882.
4,000.
4,000.
884.
Accept, oh, I'm sorry, cancel and bond.
How about just cancel?
Cancel.
Cancel.
886.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
888.
Counter, well, I wanted to ask you, is this just a bad case, do you think?
Should just be
What?
closed.
All right, I'll accept.
20,000 in 2 weeks.
I'm not sure if they've renewed. I don't have anything on a renewal. They're expired already.
So they may be shut. All right, next.
So we're going to
Yeah,
accept
we
that,
accept,
don't
no, we
pay?
accept,
Yeah.
yep.
889.
Accept,
5,000 accept.
890.
accept.
1,000 accept.
I don't have anything else.
We are adjourned, good
Just-
luck, good trip back.
All right, so the meeting is adjourned since the chairman's standing up.